Yes. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi. Oh, I love it. It's great to be here. It's great to do an afternoon show with you guys. Got a few people in here. Hello, hello. It's Friday. Weekend's coming up, everyone. The weekend is coming up. In fact, it's here for some of us. Absolutely. All right. We got some big stuff to talk about. Yeah, we got some big stuff to talk about. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. My name, of course, let me repeat myself. My name is Ethan Van Sciver, 26-year veteran of the comic book industry, world's most charming, elegant, eloquent, and yet humble man. A great big Star Wars fan, trusted member of the media. Very disappointed when I went to Walmart today. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why when I went to Walmart, there was nothing there. There was nothing at Walmart. I don't get it. I went there to get some Star Wars toys. I went there to get some pies as well, to be honest with you. But there was literally nothing there. Nothing there. There were no Star Wars toys. They stopped selling Star Wars toys at Walmart. I mean, all they basically had, they had a couple of things. They had they had Legos. They had a lot of Legos. I did end up purchasing a Lego set, but they didn't have anything good. Like, they didn't have any spaceships. They didn't have anything that I really kind of thought would make a good review toy. They had like these Black Label carded action figures. I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. I feel like Star Wars might be dead. I feel like Star Wars might be over with. And I'm not ready for it to be over with yet. I still have things to say about Star Wars. So I'm kind of bummed out. All right, so what is going on today? Well, a couple of things. Cyberfrog, the Cyberfrog Blood Honey is moving ahead. I'm so excited about it. I keep getting messages from people. The weird thing is I feel like I talk about Cyberfrog Blood Honey all the time, and I can't talk to everybody at once. I do need to just kind of update stuff on the Indiegogo campaigns. It seems like, I guess that's where most people kind of tend to get all of the updates and information, but I just like to share stuff on Twitter. I like to show artwork and stuff on Twitter, and just hope people see it there. But I have been getting messages from people about the chapter 1 of Cyberfrog Blood Honey. People are impressed and happy and pleased, and that's all I could ever ask. I'm so happy with it too. I can't believe how incredible it is to be through with something like that, to have it done, have it behind me, be anticipating it. I was telling Andrea on the way to Walmart, I'm like, I've never been this excited for a comic book to come out that I've ever done. I haven't been this excited since way back in the 1990s. There's something about it being your own, about every part of it being something that you did and actually see it in completion. That is just, it's amazing. And I've done hundreds of comic books, but this one is different. All right, so let's talk about the title of this video. The title of this video is "All of Our SJW Enemies Fall." And this just tends to be the case. We have, some of us within Comicsgate have the most persistent and weirdo enemies ever. I mean, these people just sit around, they collude. They actually sit around in secret rooms and collude on how to make our lives difficult, how to destroy our income, how to, make us unemployable, how to defame us, get people to hate us. To this day, I mean, there are people who sit around and spread like awful rumors about me, and then try to kind of incite hatred for me with people who, are kind of friendly towards me. But they'll say, "Don't you see that Ethan Van Sciver does this?" It's a very, very strange thing, and it's, it would take a psychoanalyst to understand how anyone could take a disliking to me. I don't really get it. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm meant to get it. And yet, the same kind of thing happens to your boy Zach, Richard C. Meyer. Back in the day, a couple years ago, there were weirdos trying to take him out every single moment of every single day, and they were aided by and assisted by actual editors in high places. This is an article from November 18th, 2017. I can't tell you how weird this particular month was for Comicsgate. I was on the fringes of Comicsgate. I hadn't yet declared that I was Comicsgate. I was still working for DC Comics. It was a very strange time. November of 2017, we had Marvel Comics trying to destroy us, but also we had really, really strange people, like obsessive people. One in particular who called herself Melissa Morg. Melissa Morg, the feminist frequency or whatever her channel was, feminist something or other, uh, was totally out to destroy Comicsgate until we exposed Melissa Morg as a fellow whose name was Martin, who was married with kids. He pretended to be a feminist, pretended to be a woman. He had a YouTube channel. He actually hired a fucking voice actress to do his YouTube channel. He hated us so much. He hated Comicsgate. He hated us. He had such a bee in his bonnet about us. He had such a problem that he actually went out and he hired a female voice actress and paid her to read his dialogue and pretend to be a person named Melissa Morg. In the meantime, he concocted an enormous theory that we were responsible for murder because Melissa Morg, who didn't exist, who was just a fictional construct of this weirdo, he took a picture of no, he didn't take a picture, I hope. He found a picture of a murder scene. This guy found a picture of a woman with her throat cut, from some awful murder website, where they take, police photographs, crime scenes. And he said, this was Melissa Morg. I did it for Comicsgate. Basically, this lunatic, and we tied this all back to him. You're trying to say that we incite people to murder people. This was an ingenious scheme. Find a corpse and try to pin it on. This is over comics. This is all about comics. And Zach's in the chat. He says all of our stalkers start as fans. Zach, do you want to come in here? Should I send you the? I might send you the link. Let me see here. This might be one that you want to be here for because it's pretty funny. And I don't, again, I said this yesterday. I said I don't know why we don't. I don't know why we haven't kept a journal of all of this. I would like to keep at some point, and maybe it's too late. I don't know. Is the best of this over? Is most of the harassment? Are we on the other side of that mountain? Because honestly, I do wish that we had kept a journal of it. And if there's still some to come, we need to start, monitoring it and keeping notes for a book. It's too weird. And when you remind yourself that this person pretended to be a woman, posed as a woman for months to pin a murder rap on us over comic books. It's too good to be true. Oh my God. Zach, I sent you the link if you want to pop in. I mean, absolutely do so. We're going to talk about some cool stuff here. So your boy Zach has been the main target of this abuse. and he has borne up against it. It's always something different. It's a bunch of weird. I mean, comic book people are weird. Comic book people are weird people, especially the SJWs within comics, determined to just silence him. This is from November 18, 2017. Marvel Comics editor allegedly colludes with SJWs to take down diversity in comics Patreon. I mean, just with the benefit of a little time, with the little distance from between now and then, like this gets even more outrageous. You read this stuff and you're just like, wait, what? Why is Marvel Comics struggling and colluding and planning with other weirdos to actually take down the funding apparatus of a website that criticizes them? Why are they doing that? Marvel Comics have been criticized heavily for SJWism. The sales have declined greatly since the new direction was put into place. Marvel claimed they would be moving away from SJWism during the fall run, but the company is still intent on force-feeding fans stories that many feel are poorly crafted. They did, however, attempt to bring back some of the classic heroes, but it hasn't been handled all that well. One of the most outspoken critics of Marvel Comics is a YouTube channel known as Diversity in Comics, your boy. He has a moderate audience of 47,000 subscribers, yet Marvel treats him as public enemy number one. See, this was back then, 47,000 subscribers. And it's pretty funny because when he had 47,000 subscribers, you must understand, he had more people listening to him than people who were actually purchasing any one of their books. I mean, you look at the sales charts and you realize that those comics were actually the comics that retailers were fooled into buying, stocking on their shelves. You go into a comic book shop, you can see that like those books are not selling through. Most retailers are not sophisticated enough, evidently, or are not trying hard enough to actually seek for complete sell-through. They're going to leave some on the stands and hope that people come in and discover comics. They're not being they're over ordering, okay, to their audience. 47,000 listeners. And by the way, he would get more than that. His videos would get much more than that in terms of views. 47,000 listeners was more people, more ears than there were people who were buying their books, any one of their books. So Zach did seem like a threat, but how big of a threat did they need to? I mean, it was public enemy number one. This guy's on to us. That was the whole thing. This guy's on to us. This guy knows what we're up to. This guy knows that we're trying to infiltrate Marvel Comics, change them, use them as a platform to espouse SJWism, intersectionalism. This guy knows that all we want to do is we want to stop telling good stories about heroic men and women versus creepy villains, and we want to change it to one gigantic lecture after another about identity politics and identitarianism, all that stuff. He's on to us. We got to shut him up, or he's going to let other people know. These people are going to figure out that they're being indoctrinated and not entertained. They're going to be outraged. They're going to want their money back. And we're charging $5 a piece for comics now, and there's no returns, no returnability. So we reported on a secret group of DC and Marvel writers who attempted to set up diversity in comics at the New York Comic-Con in order to get him kicked out. Now, you guys remember this. This was absolutely astounding. Oh, God, do I click on this? There's so many links here, and they're all good. These are all links that are, that lead to other weirdo stories, other rabbit holes about, other assholes who tried to destroy your boy Zach 2 years ago. And every one of these topics is worth talking about again. I'm just going to keep going forward. Just remember, title of the video is All of Our SJW Enemies Fall. That's all right. Stay focused. That hasn't stopped some Marvel editors from attempting to find ways to shut down diversity comics. These people, you have spelling errors in your comics. Why don't you focus on those? Why don't you focus on your goddamn typos? In fact, according to images on display in a 20-minute video posted up by the YouTuber, Facebook comments were captured of Marvel Comics editor Heather Antos, former Marvel Comics editor Heather Antos turned gaming gambling CEO, in quotes, turned that was her dream job, and then suddenly it was, oh my god, but let me edit it Valiant again. She's a Valiant Comics editor now, colluding with other social justice warriors in an attempt to get Diversity in Comics Patreon account shut down. Yeah, here we go. The tactics were similar to the ones, I guess the video is no longer valid. Tactics were similar to the ones employed by Zoe Quinn and those within the Crash Override network when the chat logs revealed the group to have engaged in targeted harassment and attempted doxing of Gamergate supporters. You can view the relevant images of the conversation below. So here we go. This is a little secret chat here that's going on. Heather Marie is Heather Antos from Marvel Comics. I want you to just imagine that, you know, this is you that they're talking about. Like, this is you that they're talking about. They're talking about you like, he's up to $1,000 now, huh? Look at the frowny face, like angry. Susan Auger, piece of human obsessive garbage. I mean, this person is probably one of the worst people in the world. Totally obsessed with me, totally obsessed with Zach. Susan Auger has a problem with me. I haven't heard from her in a little while, but she used to inbox me all the time, these lovey-dovey inboxes, these little messages. And I said, go away. You know, I'm a married man. I felt sexually harassed by Susan Auger. Now, some of you are saying, Ethan, you're a very handsome man. Surely you feel sexually harassed all the time. No. I take it in stride. I take some of this in stride. Susan Auger made me feel uncomfortable, though. Uncomfortable. I told her to go away. And that's when she became obsessed. Obsessed. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right to you know, I don't know. I just don't think it's right to make people feel uncomfortable in that way. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. Deleted my follow-up comment because what's the point? This person says, so he gets paid to incite people to harass women and threaten them? She says, essentially. Heather Antos says, essentially, yeah, he's getting paid to harass women and threaten them. The guy's making videos criticizing comics. They considered his videos, which were like, here's a typical Zach video of the time. Hey, it's your boy Zach, and I don't know. It looks to me like the Taliban is redesigning the costumes of these female characters. Let's go over these costume redesigns. Here's Hawk Girl, back when she was first created. She looks happy and healthy, sexy and fun, and here she is now in a burqa with her wings poking out. This just doesn't seem like fun. This doesn't seem like fun. So that's your boy Zach getting paid to incite people to harass women and threaten them, essentially. Essentially. That is beyond ridiculous. Well, it is beyond ridiculous. First of all, ask yourself if Heather Antos is actually being correct here. Is she being honest? Or is this kind of personal? Is this political? Of course it's ridiculous. He's not getting paid to incite people to harass women and threaten them. I don't remember women being threatened by anyone. I remember criticism. Free speech is protected, but hate speech is not. Especially when it's designed to incite violence. These guys, and I use that term loosely, must be a special breed of garbage asshole. Current status. Look at them obsessing, just hovering, like just like vultures over his Patreon. Current status does not include income from monetized harassment via YouTube. Zach had 257 patrons. He was getting $1,003 per month. Yeah. I think he took down his Patreon, though. Heather Anto says he's not telling them to do it specifically, so he gets a free pass. He gets a free pass because he's not telling them to do it at all. Not even close. You're crazy and delusional. Or you're evil. One of the three. It's a three: crazy, delusional, evil. Three things. Pick one. It's not his fault if his thousands of followers go after the people he makes false claims and spreads rumors about. Oh my. Is this what hypocrisy is? Is this the definition of hypocrisy right here? Are you covering for yourself, Miss Santos? It's not his fault if his thousands of followers go after the people he makes false claims and spreads rumors about. So you're calling him a white supremacist? You're calling him somebody who harasses women and threatens them? It's not your fault. If you're thousands of fans, because you are associated with Marvel Comics, or you were, go after, threaten, abuse him, try to take down his Patreon, take down his means of self-support. Look, more people. Look at this. I took a screenshot last night of him claiming to use his Patreon funds to buy a comic to shit on his channel, which is not what his stated Patreon use is. They never responded to my case against him, but here you go. It might help. It might help. Zach took all his Patreon money and he actually gave it to a fellow who drew Iron Sights. You know, that book was already paid for. That's what he used that money for. You guys think that Zach actually spends money on himself? You think Zach wastes any money? I wish Zach would spend money on himself. He doesn't. It's just not what he does. It's what I do. Today I was at Walmart. They had a box of, they have those like kind of like Jurassic Park surprises. It's like a little package. You take it home, you open it up, and it's a dinosaur. You don't know what dinosaur it is. I just bought the whole crate. I didn't want to take any chances. I wanted all the dinosaurs. That's me wasting money. That's me. That's what I spend money on at Walmart. Zach buys his shoes off a peg at Walmart. $8 sneakers. He's thrifty. He is thrifty. Now, here's the person we're talking about, Jacob Way. Solution. This is Jacob Way here. You see see the little hand? It might be very tiny on your screen. This is my my mouse is doing this, okay? Jacob Way. Solution. Report him for the violation of 2 different community guidelines. That's the solution. That's the solution. Report him. Here's the solution. Report him for the violation of 2 different community guidelines. That'll fix everything. Susan Auger says, we've been trying to get that account taken down for 2 months. Who's we? Who are these people? What are you talking about? We've been trying. Get a goddamn job. What is going on? We've been trying to get that account taken down for 2 months. 2 months. In the 2 months that Zach has made $2,006 according to his Patreon. In the 2 months that you could have prevented somebody from earning $2,006, you could have gotten a goddamn job. You could have made, between all of you, that's multiple people. Hey, you boys out.
Hey, for some reason you sound like you're on AM radio right now.
No, you do.
I think we both. Yeah, so I'm driving, so yeah, so I think it's stepping down the audio quality. Damn, that was almost a beef right there. You sound like AM radio. No, you do.
Yeah.
Beef.
And I'm echoing now.
Awesome.
Are you coming home? What are you doing?
I'm driving, but it's a little bit. I just want to jump. You have such an interesting title for this. I don't even know what you're referring to exactly.
Oh, you're going to find out.
Then I listened and I heard you were doing the I don't know, Wikipedia of stalkers we both had to deal with. Yeah. But it's you haven't lived until you've forgotten about a stalker. Like, oh yeah, I remember them. That was like 4 stalkers ago.
I forgot about all of these people. But you know what the problem is that other people remember. And when I say all of our SJW enemies fall, which they are, the mere fact that we are ascending and they are still way far beneath us doesn't mean that other people aren't watching them. And some of these people who spent all of their time and energy attacking us, attacking you in particular, are having a real hard time now. And get ready, because I'm about to tell a big story, and apparently you don't know about it yet. So you're going to be excited about this. This is good. All right. Well, nice talking to you, Zach. It's good to have you on. All right. Let me keep going with this. Susan Auger says, we've been trying to picture this. We've been trying to get that account taken down for 2 months. It's not going anywhere without mass reporting. The same tactic these alt-right assholes use to silence other accounts. I don't recall anyone doing that. I think that's mostly an SJW tactic. If you're referring to us as alt-right, which we're not. I mean, I'm not alt-right. I'm a Mitt Romney Republican. I mean, you know, actual alt-right guys call me a leftist at this point, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know, it's like I can't.
Oh yeah, I see that.
At this
Sometimes
point,
someone will suddenly. Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. I mean, you know, it's like that's a happy medium when you've got like far leftists calling you alt-right, and you've got alt-righter guys calling you an SJW or a liberal. You know.
Yeah, it says you're a centrist.
That's all I've ever said I was. You know. So, all right. So here's Susan Auger basically planning and scheming, admitting that she's part of a group who has been working diligently instead of actually working on getting a job, diligently working to deny you, and she's failed to deny you $2,006 over the course of 2 months. Also, she's recommending that there be more mass reporting. This is illegal. This is something that's not permitted on most of these platforms. To silence you from talking about the terrible redesigns of female super. Remember that Taliban-inspired designs video that you did?
Yeah, that one is popular. I get like comments from that every day because you know how you can see your new comments on YouTube. What is it called? YouTube Creator Studio. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, every day or so, people are still commenting on it. And one of the biggest things is, like I say, you know, we've had such a crazy couple of years. You just kind of get used to the after effects, and you don't really think about the origin. And yeah, like they're calling me hate movement when I was like, what's the deal with Miss Marvel? I don't like her costume. Like, it's so boring.
We've got to stop him. Yeah, Zach's arguing about how costumes aren't sexy anymore, and Susan Auger and Heather Antos are saying we've been trying to get his account taken down. We've got a mass report and silence him. It's unreal.
Openly. Yeah, and the thing is, it's like you're literally saying, so what is the end state? Am I allowed to eat food? Am I supposed to be homeless?
Yes.
You know, like they like to destroy people, so let's follow it. Once I'm homeless, what happens then? Can you get the government to make sure your tax dollars doesn't go to the homeless shelter I live at?
Yeah, well, they'll never stop. I mean, they are mentally ill and they're sick and evil.
It's always coming back to that. And, you know, you know, a lot of times people can't help their mental illness, but a lot of times people can control it and they just choose not to. I had this guy in my squad in the Marines who he would always, you know, I had a rough childhood. Oh, I got anger issues. Well, he only had him around people the same rank or younger. Whenever he was around people who could get him in trouble, suddenly he could control himself very, very well. So these people do have mental issues, and that's the commonality between all of our. I talked about the stalker life cycle. The stalker life cycle is I like you, I'm obsessed with you, you disappoint me or spurn me in some way. I just discovered you've been evil the entire time and you were tricking me. Now it's time for me to punish and destroy you. So you got to figure out what stage they're in.
That is so true. I've had that happen to me a bunch of times where, and now I'm starting to know, like when people pay too much attention to me, like you're getting way too, like people are like, hey, can I help you? How you doing today? And you're getting all these messages. You're like, it's a little too much for a fan. Like a fan should basically pop in and be like, hey, I loved your show today. It was great. I listened to you on the way to work. Keep it up. Don't stop. Or I have fans that yell at me when I'm not doing what they want me to do. Hey, what happened to the toy review videos? What happened to the art lesson videos? Get back to those. That's what I liked you for. That's what a fan does. But there are some fans that pay like a lot of obsessive attention. And then if you don't, and then something will happen, like a flip will switch, and they'll suddenly decide that you let them down.
Yeah.
And then they fucking hate you. Excuse my language. And then they try to destroy you. And they're obsessive in trying to destroy you. Yeah. It's the weirdest phenomenon.
So, I mean, it only had to happen to me 4 times before I realized a very predictable pattern. But, and again, I'm sure I can speak for you in this regard. We love our fans, but sometimes good fences make good neighbors. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta, hey, I'm going back inside my place. You have fun over there, type of thing. But yeah, so very, very early in the game, it was destroy anyone that we feel like, and they got away with it, or at least they thought they were getting away with it for a little while. But Heather Antos was quit suddenly or was fired. My guess is most likely fired. My guess is most likely fired just for constantly distracting from what Marvel is supposed to be, a profit-making industry.
Yeah.
And apparently, I'm guessing, is there something about Susan Auger? Is that where the story's going? Oh, no, I know who it is now. No, I know who it is.
Okay, don't spoil it.
Yeah, I won't spoil it.
By the way, they're saying they're making fun of me. I said a flip will switch. I meant a switch will flip.
But I understood what you meant.
Yeah. These things happen. Here is Jacob Way, who is, and let's spoil it right now. This is the subject of our entire stream today. He shouldn't be allowed to use his platform to fund his hate. Patreon.
So many buzzwords. I didn't realize they had the buzzwords coordinated 2 years ago. I didn't realize that at the time.
They all say the same stuff over and over and over again, and it's like headache inducing. I think it's getting old now. I think people are starting to realize, like, use his platform to fund his hate. Fund his hate.
Well, you know why they do that, of course, right?
Well, you explain it.
So yeah, so we're it's kind of like we're hosting a television show right now. So how's the weather there, Ethan? Oh, it's a scorcher. So they do it because they have found out certain words get more attention from YouTube or Twitter or whoever. If you say I hate this guy and he's a jerk, they go whatever. If you say he's monetizing hate on your platform and he's a member of a hate movement, that starts clicking off some bells, because they use ways to describe the people who don't like a female Doctor Who the same way you would, like, literally just someone in the actual KKK.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hate movement, monetize hate, keep putting hate on there, so it sounds like some kind of bigotry, and it's not just what it is in almost every case, just someone's opinion. So they're trying to demonize opinions, which is another way of saying demonizing diversity of thought, individuality. Here's your one allowed take on everything, and you can choose not to use it, but we're going to destroy it. And what we're going to see is a life cycle of influencers or attempted influencers. I believe Susan used to work at a store very briefly. Heather Antos, who at the time was basically doing whatever the hell she wanted at Marvel. And again, the only reason people listen to her is because she worked at Marvel. Heather A. from Skokie, Illinois. Boy, I hope she's not actually from Skokie, Illinois. I just threw that out as, like, did they say that in the usual?
That's exactly where she's from, and you've doxed her.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Dear YouTube. I love how these people, do you remember trying to tattle when you were in elementary school, like in the early 80s? What would the teacher say?
She'd say, stop tattling. Don't be a tattletale.
Tattling. Nobody likes the tattletale. Now you have people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Dear YouTube, I was obsessively listening to every single video of someone I hate. And by the way, I just noticed something.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting myself with razor blades. These are bug bites.
What, you're getting bug bites?
No, it's the crazy person. You can't tell my voices apart, can you? So they use buzzwords because they've seen those buzzwords work on other people. They're like, oh, this worked on so-and-so, so we'll use the same buzzwords. The problem is, eventually they're just talking almost entirely in a code. That's why they always accuse other people of talking in code. And it's a signal to noise thing. Right now, YouTube is getting bombed with reports for every single thing in the world because of what happened with Crowder last week. So it doesn't really matter. And if you're some weirdo who clicks thumbs down and reports every single video, that just gets ignored.
Yeah. So look at this. This is the thing. Now, is Susan Auger, Susan Auger, I think, is the daughter of the ex of a famous, did you know this, Zach? Susan Auger is the daughter of the ex-wife of a rather famous comic book writer.
I have no idea. I've never heard that out. All I've ever heard is she's just kind of, I'm not going to say that word, hanger-on. A hanger-on in the industry for years without really knowing what she's really doing there.
Right. Well, that's where I believe that's where she comes from. I'll tell you who it is. I don't think I ever told you this. Heather Marie. This is Heather Antos. Now, this is right here. If you were to take Heather to court over this right here is, the damning evidence, the smoking gun.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. People always, he called her a whatever 2 years ago. I said it, first of all, in private. Second of all, I was a little bothered. She tried to basically make me not be able to support my family, and she also said that implied that I was a member or supported the KKK. This isn't like a little deal. I just picked a random, we don't like women in comics. Like, they'll literally try to make you say that. No, she was actively trying to destroy my life, not just for a day, forever.
She's saying it right here. She's saying, like Susan said. So she's in league with this crazy person. She says, like Susan said, a bunch of us, are you, would that be targeted harassment? Would that be a hate mob? Is that a hate movement? A bunch of us have been trying to get this down for months. Heather Antos actively working. She's working for Marvel Comics.
And this is like August. I started my channel in April. That means they were trying to destroy me from like month 2.
Patreon won't hear it. They won't hear it. The gist of the conversation is that Susan Auger, I mean, this is just a confession that she is actually working within a hate campaign, a hate mob. She is scheming. This is no victim. She is a cum dumpster. This is no victim. This is no victim. This is somebody who's leading a campaign to destroy your life. This is a horrible, horrible person. You can call her whatever you want to call her. She's trying to destroy your life. Call her whatever you want to call her.
And that's the type of thing that a jury is going to understand. Like, you don't even have to finish the sentence. Like, Mark Wade's like, oh, he called her this. And I'm like, she tried to destroy my reputation for, you're tied to the KKK. That doesn't wash off. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't wash off.
Something like, you're at work and you ask your Hispanic coworker, where's a good taco restaurant? And I was like, because he's Hispanic? No, because we sit right next to each other, and I saw him eating tacos yesterday. That'll wash up. A month or so, people forget. When someone says that person supports the KKK, when Mark Wade says that person is tied to white supremacy, that will always, in some people, be in the back of their mind.
I mean, this is just absolutely stunning.
It's calculated. If you're so obsessed with me that you're talking to one of my stalkers, then I was staying in Lynchburg, which is right next to Charlottesville. You knew that summer I was going back and forth in between Manhattan, and you can easily find out that Charlottesville is the next city over.
Right.
Coincidences happen. I was at the freaking Fort Hood shooting. I was a block and a half away. No one accuses me of being a Muslim terrorist.
This person did not know that you called them a name when she was doing this, by the way. I want to make that clear. Just in terms of the timeline. Yeah, you called her that. Okay, Zach, your phone is out of control. You want to call me when you get home? It's real. It's like
10, 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. See you later. Honestly, this person did not know when they were actively trying to destroy Zach's entire life, trying to take down his Patreon, trying to spread rumors that he was a white supremacist who was hanging out with the neo-Nazis in Virginia. She didn't know. Zach didn't call her anything. Zach didn't do anything to her. And here she was actively trying to destroy his life. And now he's somehow a troublemaker. He's somehow supposed to apologize for calling her a name. You can call a person that does something like this to you whatever the hell you want. Call them whatever you want. This is a nasty person who does not deserve pity, mercy, sympathy, or anything like that. This is shameful. A bunch of us have been trying to get this down for months. His Patreon. The gist of the conversation is that Susan Auger, Jacob Way, and Heather Antos, who apparently changed her last name on Facebook, were discussing ways to take down Diversity in Comics Patreon. They claim they attempted many times to get Patreon to take down this account for harassment, but have been unsuccessful so far. You're harassing him. As to why she has a different name on Facebook than Twitter, in a tweet back in November 15, 2017, Heather explained that some of her friends were changing their last names in Facebook in order to feel safe. These are all lies. These are all tactics. All of this, I need to feel safe. He makes me feel unsafe. How is he supposed to feel? He's just making videos. He's making YouTube videos criticizing how terrible the Marvel comics are that you're producing. He's criticizing your product. It doesn't feel good. I understand that. I understand it doesn't feel good. But you're trying to destroy his life. He is not safe. You are not somebody who should be arguing or discussing about their own personal safety. This is an outrage. So where do we go from here? I'm so mad, dude. This makes me so mad. So let's actually get a little bit of, let's have a little fun here. Diversity in comics antagonist Kraken Print reportedly facing financial difficulties. Meet Jacob Way. Meet one third of the campaign to destroy Diversity in Comics Patreon 2 years ago. 1/3 of him. Here he is. Does he look familiar to you? Let me just look up something real quick here. You guys can watch me do this. Soy boy sketch. Skeech. I think sketch would be better. Yeah. Got 2 of them up here. Here you go. All right, so let's just back and forth here. I mean, yeah, there's some hair, issue. Like he grew his hair long and everything, but it's the same guy. Wow, that really is good. Look at this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, boom. Same exact thing. Same exact individual here. Why do they all look like this? Why do they all look like this? I don't understand. They all look exactly the same. Hewick Gack says, I'm late and gay. What was Teeny Howard saying? Nothing. They all look exactly alike. Richard C. Meyer was put through, this is a new article, just came out. Richard C. Meyer was put through harassment campaigns, doxing, and all sorts of other deplatforming attempts by various people at Marvel, DC, and independent outlets who took issue with his then named YouTube channel, Diversity in Comics. Well, one of those people who had targeted Meyer is now in a financially compromising situation himself. Kraken Print CEO, he's a CEO, Jacob Way, is currently going through some hard times and is unable to pay staff, according to a report from Bleeding Fool. The opening paragraph explains it all, stating, comic printing company Kraken Print is experiencing financial difficulties, and CEO Jacob Way has laid off the entire staff. Comic creators who have outstanding orders with Kraken Print are panicking and now have to decide whether to write the order off as lost and place another order with another printer, or continue to be patient. This dude prints comic books? Are you kidding me? Is it comics that he prints or prints? In a separate video uploaded by Pocket Jacks Comics, it's explained that Kraken Print had to be sued in order to follow through with the delivery of an order that hadn't fulfilled for the comic book company. The video published on June 12th, 2019. Kraken Print teetering on bankruptcy. The gist of the video is summed up by the following description, where it states, comic printing company Kraken Print is experiencing financial difficulties, and CEO Jacob Way has laid off the entire staff. Comic creators who have outstanding orders with Kraken Print are panicking now, and blah, blah, blah. All right. As a customer of Kraken Print, I have faced this dilemma myself. Ultimately, I was able to get my comics delivered by threatening litigation. Threatened to sue this guy. Threatened to sue him. Let me go back here. What did we do? Everything's great. Solution. Threatened to sue Jacob Way. Solution. Threaten to sue him to get your comics. Art Citizen 09, thanks for $20. Hail Caesar. Zach, I know you're still listening. If you're gone by the time this is read, I think it's fair to say you're the father of Comicsgate. History of fandom will remember you. You're an effing hero to the movement. Thank you. Absolutely true. Yeah. Solution. Sue him. He shouldn't be allowed to use his platform to not produce the comic books the people have ordered. Patreon will shut his ass down real quick, and he will have to scramble to find a place to peddle his hate. All you bitches fall. All of you fall down. Justice is coming. And I will tell you this. I don't mean to gloat. But I will tell you, why am I getting hentai ads? Because it's One Angry Gamer. I don't know what it is, but that website has all the hentai. Your host doesn't look at that filth. Are you kidding me? Yeah. This is going to happen. This is going to happen over and over again, because if you have the mindset to torture and harass people who just want better comics, there's something wrong with you, and your business model isn't going to work out. Ultimately, I was able to get my comics delivered by threatening litigation. I typed up a lawsuit and sent a PDF copy of it to all the contact emails I had for the company. I heard from everyone by the end of the day. Hatch450SX, thanks for $2, says, you missed my last chat. Also, Zach and EVS, you rock. Thank you. I'll go back and read the super chats. JMD Reed, thanks for $5, says, sup, Uncle E. I haven't heard a live stream in a while. Looking forward to Cyberfrog. Thank you. Me too. I'm so excited. Everyone gloat. I don't know. Just gloat. Here's another cum dumpster. All of these people crying over that, crying over being called a name, trying to destroy Zach for calling them a name. Meanwhile, they colluded in private for months. Admittedly, for months, they colluded with each other to try to destroy his entire life. Oh my God, he called us names. He called us names. And for that, it's inexcusable. All of these people are going to suffer and pay the consequences that the real world is going to actually deliver to them. The real world is happening right here. Billy Ritchie, thanks for $5. Went to Disney World and saw Galaxy's Edge. It burns seeing my childhood being sodomized by a mouse. And Ethan, hentai's life. Hentai's for you. It's not. I mean, look, it's just not my thing. You know, it isn't my thing. But it is pretty funny. I noticed the mouse pads as I was scrolling by. I was like, what in God's holy name? Can you imagine if I had those on my desk? Just a booby mouse, like a woman with boobies mouse pad. Your Aunt Andrea would come down here and be like, what in God's holy name is this? Yeah. Alan says, sure. It's true. Kraken Prince Dire Straits looks somewhat karmic given what transpired back in November of 2017, where Jacob Way, Susan Alger, and Heather Antos all conspired to get the Diversity Comics Patreon account shut down. They were part of a private Facebook comic and writers group. Multiple times, Marvel and DC writers tried to get Myers' financial accounts and YouTube channel shut down. They ultimately failed. The Grand Inquisitor, thanks for $2. Those ads are from Google, Uncle E. We're on to you. It's just not true. It's you know, I don't know what to say. You can go to One Angry Gamer and you can look for. All right, fine, they're mine. I constantly looking up anime. That's why I'm involved in Anime Gate. I know everything about anime. I love it, dude. I'd be so if I knew anything about hentai or anime, I'd be all over the Kick Vic situation. I want to fight those SJWs. I just don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. I've never watched any hentai except for La Blue Girl, which I think is hentai. Somebody sent it to me in the 90s. It was great. I said, what is this? All right, look. Let's get back to some serious stuff. Multiple times, Marvel and DC writers tried to get Myers' financial accounts and YouTube channel shut down, but they ultimately failed. As times began to get tough for Kraken Print, Way began erasing a lot of his footprints online, including scrubbing profiles. If you attempt to check out the About page for Kraken Print, the page turns up empty. You're kidding me. What? We couldn't find the page. They took it down. That's odd. Meyer, on the other hand, has since rebranded and gone on to create and distribute his own comic book called Jawbreakers. Many of the people who had hounded him have either moved on from the comic book industry or have left him alone after he sued DC Comics writer Mark Waid for tortious interference, as reported by Bounding Into Comics. In the case of Kraken Print, it doesn't appear as if they had to be sued to be brought to ruin. The writing was on the wall for a while, as evident with the report from Bleeding Fool back in March 2019, where Jacob Way, I don't even know who any of these people are. I don't know who Jacob Way is except for this. If Jacob Way could live or die, I have no idea what, it's like Bleeding Fool is following his career. Like, what is this? Attempted to downplay the issues regarding the delays, stating that the company was growing too fast and they just lacked the communication and logistics to keep up with the growth. What's more is that Wei isn't handling any of the outstanding orders with the company. As mentioned by Pocket Jacks Comics, any issues related to the remaining orders at Kraken Print need to be forwarded to Joshua Valeri, who stepped in with Frederick Packard, all these big names, as part of the new ownership during the company's downturn. All right, so this is great news, I guess. Justice is delivered.
Why do they always look like that?
That's what I'm saying. Why won't it just stay focused on him? Well, every time, look at this. Every time I put it on him, it goes, no. Stay there. Look, it just moved again. By the way, everything on this site is hentai. And now they're blaming me, Zach. Look at this. What is this? Collectible gear ads. Even this is tentacles. Why is... Let's see. And now I can't find any hentai.
So I wasn't aware of this guy having any beef. You kind of get used to whenever the usual suspects are obsessing about you, there'll be 2-3 randos just chiming in. It's like, oh yeah, he super is. But I do remember this company when I was looking for printers, and I just waved off because their website didn't look very good.
I think they do. They must do comic book printing for just like the garbage tier, like, you know, super small press. Like, that's the impression that I get. Like, probably, you know, if you are one of the people who, you know, Black Mask, you know, stuff like that, maybe even sub beneath Black Mask, they would come to him and you know, that's my impression anyway. I've never, you know, when I looked at the list of printers to do Cyberfrog, I didn't hear of this place. You know, I don't know, but I mean, it is true. It's like they all, like, every single time.
Why do they all look like this?
I mean, it's like, this is like, I switch back and forth. Boom, look at that. Aside from the hair, but the hair is, you can change the hair in any way. You know, I mean, this guy's got, you know, I don't know. He's got hair like Danny Partridge, but they all do look exactly like this, and none of them know how to smile. They all smirk at you with dead eyes.
Well, that's also gets into what's it called, cluster B, personality disorder type of thing. All this, I mean, for whatever reason, we're constantly the target of effectively the same person, just in different bodies.
What is it that makes people unable to smile properly? This is something that interests me. Like, there's a sort of deficiency in a human being. And I'm not saying it's only SJWs, but it seems to be focused around some millennials. They smirk at you. They all grow in the, like, you know, the facial hair like this. They all have glasses. Does nobody, like, first, this is the other thing. Nobody wears contacts anymore.
Exactly.
That's another thing.
Nobody
I don't
gets
understand.
LASIK. Well, did you read the article yesterday where they pointed out how little net worth millennials have? It's like the worst net worth in history for the last like 50 years or something like that.
It's right here. You know, why targeting millennial consumers might not be such a hot idea after all.
They can't afford contacts.
That's what it is, right? Glasses are cheaper.
Yeah.
How about this? Can't afford contacts. That's what they're saying in the chat. They're saying they can't afford it. So they're all sitting behind.
I'm an expert at being super poor. I was super poor for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where you just because you got to get the solution, and then you got to get the little holder. Then you travel. I forgot my solution. I got to buy another one. It's $8. No.
Yeah. Well, just real quick, I just want to sort this out. It's the smirk, though. There's something about it. To me, when somebody smirks at me, somebody says it could be because they have bad teeth. Like, I understand that, but that's not what this is. That's an awkward kind of smirk, you know, covering your teeth.
Well, and this one is, I have to do like 5 prefaces to say this is not a threat of violence. Yeah. Me and you are from the generation where if you looked at someone funny, they might say, "Hey, you got a problem?" And that could just turn into a fight, like anywhere, not in a bad neighborhood, just someone in another booth staring at you. Yeah. I will hazard a theory that this is, no one's ever told you, "Hey, you got a problem? What are you staring at? I'm going to knock that smirk off your face." And they were never told, I've never been in a fight ever. This is what happens when you take all that stuff out of, just growing up. You get people smirking. You didn't get to smirk at people in the 1950s.
You didn't get to smirk at people in the 1980s either. They'd be like, "What are you looking at?"
Into the 1990s, yeah, I'd be like, "What the hell are you looking at?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you couldn't smirk. I even remember one time, like in the National Guard, I was not consciously rolling my eyes. My first sergeant almost kicked my face in front of other people. I didn't even realize I was doing it. But yeah, like you just kind of get to learn, and now you can just act however. You can call someone a white supremacist, and unless they have some really good friends in a very unique situation, to fund a very expensive lawsuit, you can get away with it.
Wade S, thanks for $10. Hey EVS, here's another couple of bucks for pointing me to Electric Barbarella. Yeah, Duran video, Zach. You should check it out. Now check. One? No, it's an old one. It's from like '98. Electric Barbarella. This guy orders essentially a robotic girlfriend. And it's awesome. It's so hot. Everybody was happy I told them about it. Now check out Satisfaction by Benny Benassi. You might not like the music, but the video is moi. All right, Wade. Bulbous Bungleton, thanks for $10. $5 for the musical journey you took me on a week ago. 5 more to encourage more genius melodies. Also, I would love to see you on EFAP. What is EFAP? I heard that. I don't know what it is, though. Do you know what EFAP is, Zach?
No, but there's this other thing that Rob Liefeld's talking about, where I guess if someone's celebrity, they'll like record a greeting for you for like $25.
Is that what EFAP is?
No, I don't think that's EFAP. It's some other thing. But yeah, it made me think about that.
Well, let me tell you something. She likes my piano playing, Zach.
I can't take this guy's face.
No, but we're still talking about it real quick. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Zach, just help me make sense of things, because oftentimes you have the answers for things like this.
Okay, so this is my theory. You grew up in the self-esteem era where you were told everything you were good was, even if it wasn't. Nobody ever not rocked your wig back because you smarted off to him or looked at him funny. You figured out how to destroy people legally while using a few catchphrases. You have a personality disorder and you're mentally ill. And you're poor. That's how you get stuff like this.
That's what it is. So we break it down to mentally ill, personality disorder, never had your ass kicked, and you're poor. And that's most SJW. That's most soy boys.
Yeah.
And you've been told that you were good at everything all the time. That's important too. Now, why are they broke? Why targeting millennial consumers might not be such a hot idea after all. This is an article I found on Kiwi Farms. They posted this. You know what? Speaking of being poor, and I'm not, but I would rather show the Kiwi Farms version of this article than actually go spend money to subscribe to this website to be able to read this article.
Where is it from?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but
I saw links to it everywhere.
Adweek, www.adweek, and I went to it. Like, if you go to it here, they go, "Hey, do you want to read the rest of the article? Then register. Well, register now for free." I'm not doing it because I know there's going to be a consequence. I'd much rather just do this. Sorry. All right. As generational expert with over 25 years in the field, Alexis Abramson has heard all there is to hear from brands trying to appeal to various age groups, from baby boomers to generations X, Y, and Z. Pick your group. She's researched them, written about them, and probably lectured on them. But here's the thing here. All right. So the article is actually saying that the net worth of millennials has dropped by 35%, Zach. In 1995, you and me, we're walking around with almost $12,000 in our pockets. Did you have $12,000 in your pocket in 1995? I mean,
hell no. I was way at the bottom, but the millennial is it's like 28 to 38 or something like that.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, I was like early 20s. So someone who should already be in their career and should have some kind of nest egg. These are the people who get angry when you say you can make money in comics and they make Publishers Weekly apologize.
Right. And these are the people, by the way, who instead of working on earning their own $2,006, spend all of their time, bothering Patreon to get the $2,006 taken away from Zach. And
Were
that
they
might have
like
something to do
tracking
with
what
it.
I was making back then, or just estimating it?
No, it said they took a picture of your Patreon. By the way, we've got 2,200 people watching right now.
Huh.
God damn, that's big.
Is it a holiday? Oh, it's summer.
It's summertime. It's Friday. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had that many people watching at once. But yeah, so that is the thing. So these people actually, instead of actually working to do something, to actually produce something, which they don't seem to know how to do, instead they're going to devote all their time to trying to take something away from you.
So I'm seeing your thesis right here.
Yes.
So Susan Auger, I don't know. As far as I know, she just has all day long. The public library opens at 9, closes at 8:30. But what was this guy named James something?
Who? What guy?
He owned the printer guy. He owned a business until like 2 days ago. And me being a business owner, you know what I've been doing for the last 3 days?
What?
Driving across town from bank to bank. Oh, you got to pay this thing. It's the Q2. It's like, oh, I forgot to pay myself. So I had to drive to one bank that I was at yesterday, get myself a cashier's check, to drive to the other bank to deposit it, to make sure it's in by tomorrow, because that's the last day of Q2. And I got to pay, and I got to, all this stuff. Like, if you're running a business that's meant to be successful, you don't have time to be on some hate mob trying to get some rando person's Patreon taken down. You don't have time to talk to the people talking about that.
No, you don't have to. It's ridiculous. I don't have time. I barely have time to do live streams anymore. It's like I got to sit down and go.
You don't even know the news. There was a major change to foreign policy that had been building. You had no idea.
Zach, I'm trying to keep track of Star Wars. It's too much right now. Obi-Wan said, thanks for $20, says EFAP is every frame a pause. It's Mahler and Wolf and Rag's version of the High Council. Ask Anna and Jeremy and Jeff about it. Oh, okay. That's good to know. Thank you very much for the $20. I appreciate you. And I that's why they were talking about EFAP last week. But yeah, I don't have time for this. Like, I really don't have time to destroy people. And there, there's still, I think there's a lot of projection out there. There are people who actively are seeking to destroy people, assume that everybody else is as well. I just don't have time anymore. I've got a million things to do, and I'm sure you do too. But these people, what's alarming about it is that you do have to kind of keep half an eye on these millennials whose net worth has dropped by 35% because they're busy on the internet, tortiously interfering. Worrying about social justice. Do you remember back in August of 2017, there was a college that actually offered to pay their students to police the other students for social justice crimes?
No.
Oh, this is true. I got to find this here. This is absolutely crazy. College. This is actually worth looking up. I got to find this. Yeah, October of 2000. UCLA students pay $2 million plus per year in social justice fees. Enrollment drops at schools known for social justice warfare. Yeah, and I think it's Evergreen State. Is this Evergreen State? I'm going to find this. I'll do a whole separate video about this. I can't break up the where we are right now for this. But this is an actual thing. Like schools, we talked about the bakery and Oberlin College. I mean, there are schools that are actively paying students to trouble and harass fellow students who kind of step out of line with social justice orthodoxy. It is insane. It's pure insanity. Does that surprise you?
I mean, I've been seeing it build for years and years, and the whole free speech zone. But I remember just college just getting really, really ugly and racist, although they would not claim it. So I went to the UT in the 90s, and I was a real bad student. I didn't finish my degree. Then I went to the Marines. I got some discipline, so I went back to finish my degree. And when I went back, and again, this was like 15 years ago. All of a sudden, in the 1990s, everyone hung out with everyone. And now it was literally like the South Asian Students Association,
Mm.
the North Asians, like Asians weren't even hanging out with other Asians. All of a sudden, in a matter of like 6-7 years, like people were only hanging out with their ethnic groups. And then the college completely like encouraged this. I was like, what is going on? It's brought back segregation enthusiastically.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like the same people that are talking about white supremacy, these people with their their intersectionalism, they encourage groupthink, but they also encourage people to band together by these shallow surface traits. And that's what they do. I mean, that's what they tend to do for all of their speech making, all of their all of their Burger King Kids Club sort of imagery. They really are about tribalism. They're about people packing together into groups and only relating to other people who look like them, while condemning white people, white males in particular. It's very, very, very strange. And it is the reverse. It is the reverse of progress. They used to call themselves progressives. Do they still call themselves progressives?
I think they think that's too soft right now.
Oh, it's just
they're extreme. I don't even think they would like that one, but I don't know. I'm just glad that most of these things we're talking about crazies they're most from the old days. Like I did a video a couple days ago, and I've just seen the impact of these people just deflate. So I'm pretty excited about I just read a Marvel comic that had it's outsold Batman. It's Immortal Hulk, and there's a little bit of PC. I kind of teased them on a little bit of light political correctness, but it's nothing SJW. It's just cool action, cool monsters, big twists, pretty good art. I've seen better art, but I was like, I think you can only lose money for so many years before they and it's just the same 12 people causing problem everywhere all the time. Just ignore them. And they're guys like this. They're impoverished. They can't run a business. They can't prioritize their time. Ignore it.
Yeah, I'm happy to see some people are stepping up and realizing this. Some people are actually stepping up and saying, you know what, it's better just to ignore. It is better just to kind of ignore these people. They are going to harass you, but you just kind of ignore them and move on and only think about money. Only think about your business. That's all you need to do. Don't worry about anything else. Otherwise, you can end up like IDW, which we talked about yesterday.
Gosh. By the way, I was trying to get into that one last night. That was an epic live stream last night. You covered everything. That was if you got to watch one video for the last 4 months, watch that one. Everything you said was interesting. You weren't singing that I heard. You weren't talking about the frogs in the pool or all it was every boom, boom, boom. IDW is nuts. I was actually thinking maybe to do that next video on them. They don't want to be in comics, and they're destroying themselves to buy their way into Hollywood. They're like, oh, we just leveraged $35 million so we can finance our own. Isn't the whole thing that you're supposed to sell your stuff to Hollywood, not do all the financing and destroy your company? What's going on?
Yeah, I really do think that everyone agrees with us at this point that the comic book industry is dead. Now, people are reacting to that in different ways. Me and you, when we hear that the comic book industry is dead, we go, oh no. Well, that doesn't mean anything. We can still do comic books, and we have our own audience, and we can sell our comic books to these people. We don't need the entire industry. We just need our own miniature industry that we can sell.
Zero pipeline.
That's all we need.
Even though there's a pipeline, it still makes sense. I get it. I know what you mean.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is zero pipeline. There is no pipeline, Zach. There's no pipeline. A pipeline implies that it's got several stops along the way. It doesn't. It's literally our hands to their hands. That's what it is. There's no pipeline that people can interfere, because with a pipeline, let's say you've got water going from one area to the next area, somebody can puncture a hole in it and the water is not going to get there anymore. When there is no pipeline, because I'm just handing you a glass of water, that's a different situation, and that is what we're doing. So people
I just imagine Mark Wade jumping in between. Stop.
Yes. Do not give him that glass of water. Do not accept that glass of water. It's toxic.
What company made this glass? They're about to get a piece of my mind.
Yeah. So in any case, this is the thing. Some people are reacting to the death of the comic book industry like we are, which is, well, we got to find a way to still create comic books because we love comic books. We just don't love the comic book industry.
I think about comics all day long.
Yeah.
Every single day.
I think about my comics. I don't think about comics.
Yeah. It was fun talking to you about comics one time, but the comics you liked, I didn't like.
What comics did I like that you didn't like?
Boy, Power Pack meets Fantastic Four was the bee's knees. It really changed my whole life. I'm like, oh God, can you start saying
anything like that, dude? Why do you lie? No. You lie to my audience. We've got 2,200. Let me just check and see how many people we have. I'm sorry, 21 people left when you started lying. So we've got 2,179 people watching. I like Fantastic Four. I like the X-Men. Those are the comics that I actually legitimately really, really love and will never let go of. Like if the house burned down, I would be sad that I lost those comics. Everything else that I have, all other comics can go. And that is the truth. But look, I love my own stuff at this point. I love the idea of being able to create comics and communicate through comics. Other people like IDW actually see the comic book industry as, look, it's dying. We've got to use it real quick as a stepping pad, as a stepping stone to get on to something else.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't directly considered that. So you're saying they're just trying to climb out of a burning room. That's why they're using it as a step stool.
Well, yeah, like at this point, there's no money to be made in comics. Okay, we can all kind of agree with that at this point. The way things are going,
I don't agree. We're making money. I'm driving all around town doing Q2 text. Dilly dally.
Yeah.
There is money to be made if you put competent people who connect with the audiences.
It's got to be completely.
They hand me Night Thrasher. I'll sell $1 million of just Night Thrasher comics in next year.
It's got to be done completely differently, Zach. It's got to be done the way that they're doing comics right now. It's not working. It's never going to work again because you can't sell enough of these $3 floppies to make a profit right now. There just aren't enough people buying them. So really, when Bleeding Cool was bragging the other day about 500,000 copies of Ms. Marvel.
Oh gosh, those numbers are so fake. First of all, they're throwing multiple issues together, adding it together, and then adding it to foreign translations. And the other thing that they do is they put this in Scholastic. I thought the Scholastic section might have like 10 or 12 Marvel comics. So a teacher who hands them out in class, he goes, no, it's this tiny section. It'll have like 3 comics. So they'll have an audience of like 20 million school kids, and all you can choose from is Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, or Squirrel Girl. That's how they get these numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And when they rotate it out for something else, for West Coast Avengers, then all of a sudden those numbers plummet.
Yeah, well, again, that's part of it. Like Ms. Marvel's in a kind of enviable position because it is being aimed at just the children's market, the same market as Squirrel Girl. It has the advantage of, Zach, maybe you haven't realized this, but Ms. Marvel is a Muslim superhero. And therefore, what are you, anti-Muslim? You Islamophobic? Why aren't you purchasing our comic book?
I like when they pre-install the emotional blackmail and it's not an add-on that you have to pay more for.
Yeah, I really appreciate
standard.
it. Yeah,
it's a factory default.
Factory installed Islamophobia proofing. Well, you get a pass, for being Islamophobic if you buy this comic. So that's in there. And here's what they do. They say, okay, we're going to take this comic book because it's aimed at kids and it's aimed at your guilt. Okay, it's aimed at what's that called in the Catholic Church when you can buy an
plenary indulgence?
Indulgence. Okay.
Plenary indulgence.
Okay, so that's what that is. You can buy that with this comic book. We're going to aim it at libraries. So libraries are going to have to stock this. Why aren't you stocking this? Somebody said they saw 60 copies of Ms. Marvel trade paperbacks in their local library. That was part of the scheme. The other part of the scheme was to aim them at Scholastic Book Fair, which is interesting. When your kids go and do you remember this, Zach? Do you remember being a kid and the Scholastic book bus was coming? and they would send home a little order form, and they would say, they basically force the kids to buy books because everybody else is going to buy one. So your poor parents, and my parents were poor. Like we would get this thing, and I'd be like, I want this dinosaur book and this book about ghosts, and it would be like $20, and my mom would have to give me a check for $20.
Oh my God, like a 1983 check for $20?
A lot, yeah, I know. And it was 1983. So they still do that, and that is the scam. Now, these order forms go home to kids, and it's like, hey, they can have a choice between, a copy of Our Body, Ourselves, or a biography of George Washington, or this comic book, So what do you think the kids who are definitely in to buy something, kids have to buy something, all of the kids are going to buy one of these awful Marvel comics that they're not even going to really read, Squirrel Girl or Ms. Marvel. And this scam is incredible. And I will say this, it is absolutely phenomenal. People who, the comic book industry right now, we're circling Scholastic. Like, how can we get in there? How can we get in there? All of the companies are doing this.
But it's not a good deal. That Scholastic is like selling something in comic book shops if you had 2 more stops along the way, because the school gets a chunk, Scholastic gets a chunk, but then they make you mark down the cover price.
No. They get $2. I'll tell you this, because I talked to Dynamite. They were like, we did really well. Like Dynamite optioned Bob's Burgers, and they did a Bob's Burgers book specifically for Scholastic, and sold like 80,000 copies of this Bob's Burgers book. And for that, though, whatever the cover price was, I think they get something like $2. That's what they get in profits for selling those books. But still, you're selling 80,000 copies of a trade paperback. You're getting $2 in profit. Okay, it's a pretty good deal. Can we do more of that? And so many of these comic book companies, Marvel's actually Marvel is deliberately creating properties and projects aimed at Scholastic that does prey on their guilt, and then prey on also the kids, and the fact that like their choices are so few. Like, what kind of junk food can we feed these kids so they don't have to read something that's going to be good for them? We'll give them Ms. Marvel, we'll give them Squirrel Girl. They're going to choose one of these 2 books. It's profitable right now. It is profitable. Raging Goblin, thanks for $5. EVS and your boy Zach together are some of my favorite streams. Keep it up, fellas. Paragon, thanks for $10. The religion of social justice is just a brainwashing tool of some politicians so that they can hide their real agenda. They have brainwashed so many people with its lies. There's something to that. So this is the thing. Something like most of these people are finding ways. They are finding ways to make comic books sell, but others, like IDW, are just going, okay, look, none of this stuff's working. Okay, it's just not working. We license properties out. We do our best. Like, we're not making anything. We're not creating anything. And IDW doesn't create anything, do they? I mean, do they have anything that's their own? That
they don't have much. So that's one of their problems. So the few things they do have, they're really trying to pump them up. And geez, I'm going through this Bleeding Cool article. They're taking out $20 million loans. Jeez.
But I mean, they're not doing that for comics.
No, so they can fund another season of a show that does okay-ish, kind of ish.
Right.
What is the future here? Like, oh my gosh.
It's just, I mean, at this point, you're scrambling for investors. You're trying to make your appearance. You're trying to appear healthy and solvent for your.
You know what kind of freaking properties they have?
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
IDW. Or G.I. Joe. Transformers. Star Trek. Oh my gosh.
They got everything.
G.I. Joe. You take Transformers. John Manley can take Star Trek.
I don't want any of it.
Sell $1 million each.
I would do Ghostbusters. I think
Ghostbusters. They got freaking ghosts. They got everything.
Yeah. I could do Ghostbusters. I would do a hell of a spin on Ghostbusters. I'd make them funnier. I'd make the ghosts scarier. And I would stop the real Ghostbusters shit. Get rid of that. I would take the original guys. I would make them funny. I would make them cool. I'd keep them true to character, but I would make the ghosts scarier than they were even in the movies. I
That's
think
actually a really good idea. Have you ever seen Vampires with James Woods?
Yes.
I just watched it for the first time yesterday, and it's kind of like that. It's the same story you've seen a million times, cool vampire hunters, except for it's really, really hard to kill one vampire. They rolled up like 17 deep, and then they killed like 4, and they're like high-fiving each other after them partying. Like, we killed 4 of them. Like, so yeah, and it's funny, but it's like this real like blue collar intense. Like everyone just kind of expects to die, you know?
Yeah.
So they're like, we killed 3 vampires. At the end, they go, we found the biggest nest in history. It has 17 vampires. But they've made it so dramatic over that 2 hours. You're like, dude, there's no way you can kill 17 vampires. You got to nuke that place. So yeah, I actually love your take on Ghostbusters.
Well, that would be the thing. It'd be,
and imagine like instead of the same 4 guys, like, oh, we're just going over to 48th Street. Oh, there's a class 4 Spectral. Like they're just grim. Like you got some. It's like Vietnam for Ghostbusters. Like they get the new guy. They're like, you know, I'm the leader of this team. I've been here 3 months. Everyone else is dead.
Wow, so people are actually like, yeah, because they've seen the other side. But no, I think they keep their sense of humor. I think the whole thing should be whistling through the graveyard. And that should be the theme of Ghostbusters. It's just like, look, we are seeing hell. We're seeing the other side. We're seeing what pure evil looks like. You know, I mean,
and then so many of the team has died that you got buddies on the other side. They're helping.
Who died? Who died? Venkman? I mean, no. They're all alive. You know, what do you want to kill them for?
I want a bunch of like second stringers, like red shirts, and then they're either getting angry at you or they're trying to help out.
No, but that's kind of what they're doing now. I think that's what like the new Ghostbusters movie is going to end up being. But no, I don't think so. I think we, you know, the whole thing that was funny is like really because you're hanging out with these 4 guys and you like them so much and they're so funny and they're having a good time and they keep it loose. You're not afraid of evidence of the afterlife and demons and ghosts and the city being taken over by a demonic presence. It's like because you're hanging out with Venkman, it's funny. And that's, I think, what Ghostbusters is. It's just the threats need to be, you know, my whole thing at DC Comics, when I worked at DC Comics, was always like, okay, keep the heroes sunny, fun, happy, powerful. Make the villains worse. Make the villains worse than ever, because the villains cannot be goofballs. The villains have to say, like, Wally West is like, hey, I'm Wally West, I'm the Flash, you know, and he's happy, smiling all the time because he's a hero. You know, he does what he does. He likes what he does. And then the villains, it's like his rogues are goddamn, they're you know, they're killers, they're drug addicts, they're monsters. And, you know, that's important. You want to show the contrast between good and evil. And I think the problem with Silver Age DC Comics so much, I mean, your whole thing about, hey, don't people just rob a bank anymore? Yeah, they do. They do, but for, you know, now and then. But it doesn't show enough of a problem. It doesn't show how bad crime is and how evil these people are and why it's so important that we depend on our hero. We like Wally West because we know he's going to keep us safe from this, you know, this other world, the underworld of Keystone City. You know, that's what DC Comics should be. And that's what, like, me and Jeff Johns DC Comics kind of was when we were working together early on. Ghostbusters should be the same thing. We hang out with these sunny, happy guys. We like them because we know that even though they're fools, they're goofballs, they're good enough and smart enough and lucky enough and optimistic enough to protect us from the real evil of the other side, you know, the spiritual, the underworld. I think it could work. I think it would be pretty cool.
That sounds great.
Yeah. I know they're bringing back Wally West. I saw that.
Well, Wally West is coming back, but he just went to jail, and I think this is his future version. Like, he's out of jail.
Ugh.
He's like, no more murdering people to cover up my accidental murders.
Yeah.
I'm starting off with a new lease on life.
So much of this is just fixing other people's mistakes. Like, you know, Green Lantern Rebirth was just like, look, they destroyed Hal Jordan. How can Hal Jordan ever be a hero again? He's a killer. He's an F-up. He's selfish. He's evil.
I still can't look at him the same. I know I'm not a DC guy, but to me, he was forever ruined.
Yeah.
He's the guy who didn't have that metal, that integrity when it mattered most. There's nothing you can ever save him.
You know, Zach, I think it'd be interesting to actually do a video on the creative people who ruined these characters, who actually turned these characters to evil and broke them, and then compared them to their social media presences.
Who made that decision to do that to Hal Jordan?
Ron Mars.
Oh my God. Jeez.
So it's like
there's actually a point where you don't even have to prove your thesis.
Yeah, but I mean, like that one's a layup. So we know.
Did you know him back then?
He was kind of Ron. Yeah, you know.
Was he normal? He seemed to be normal back then. I liked his Silver Surfer. I liked a lot of his stuff.
I don't think I ever really had an opinion of Ron. He was just kind of like, he was the Green Lantern, the former Green Lantern crew that was leaving when we were coming on. Like, we were trying to erase everything that he did. So, it's like,
I didn't know him. You never interacted with him.
Yeah, but enough to say hi. I'm trying to think of, did I ever notice that Ron Mars was, because I mean, Ron Mars now on social media is like, fuck comics.
Yeah, it's like completely hate filled. It's like, it's him and what's that other short guy who wrote Chew? John Layman.
John Layman is insane too, but John Layman was pretty much always insane. Like John Layman, my first interaction with John Layman was we would go to these DC dinners. I mean, expensive dinners. This was when comics were still making money, and we would go to these family dinners, and we'd all talk to Dan DiDio would be at the head of the table, and so we would all want to be sitting near Dan DiDio. And, I was kind of, I was always one or two people away from Dan DiDio because I had his ear. And then across from me was John Layman one time. And Dan turned to me and said, when are we going to finally get that Plastic Man book out of you? And I said, soon, I don't know. I was doing other stuff at other plants. John Layman goes, you want to do Plastic Man? I want to do Plastic Man. And I was like, really? Let's talk about it. So we were talking over dinner over Plastic Man, and we realized we had all the same ideas. Like, I mean, John was like, I see it as like it's an Irish black hoodlum crime book, like that Irish black humor. He's like, is he using the FBI in his identity as Plastic Man to sort of raise himself up and profile with the mafia? Or is he using the mafia as E.L. O'Brien to get more wins for the FBI? You're never really quite sure. He's mercurial. I'm like, yeah. This is all. So that was the whole thing about Plastic Man. And we were like, yeah, we should do this. Literally like a month later, he heard that I was a Republican. And this was during the Bush era. And I remember walking to my table and walking past him. Like I had to go around him to get to my table and him glaring at me. I'm like, what are you looking at? He's like, Bush, Ethan. Really? I was like, what? He's like,
really, Ethan?
Yeah, you voted for Bush? How can you vote for Bush? So this must have been like 2005 or 6. I was just like, John, I can't talk about politics when I'm at a comic book convention. I'm sorry. It's just inappropriate. We're supposed to be talking about comics and stuff. And ever since then, like that was the first time. And then ever since then, a flip was switched. Where every time I saw John Layman, he was glaring at me, and it got worse and worse and worse. Like I said to him, I said, John, you've been politically poisoned. Like you can't treat people like this. You can't just get along with someone and talk about collaborating at a dinner, and then suddenly just become a completely different person because you found out that they voted for the other party. Like, that's not sane. That's not okay. Like, that's not normal or healthy.
So it's coming back. So, the commonality of this one is, I was just thinking about, the history of comics, and it used to be that comics are for kids, and then it was comics are for nerds. And now it's comic books are for mentally ill people. That's what it seems like to me.
Are they for them, or are they just being haunted by them?
Well, we're, like I said, we're making decisions based on what will 12 mentally ill people pretend to be offended by. Stuff like the behavior. I mean, we still have it. It should never be allowed. Like, this is not an industry when things like this happen. It should have been like, John, you can work with him, or you can work with, some other company, Yeah. And the idea that you even have to bring it up is ridiculous. Like, you're adults, And this isn't political. It's mental illness. A normal person can understand there are people in the world who voted differently. And not to be surprised, someone in my industry didn't vote the same as me. How weird would it be if every single person in a single industry voted exactly the same? Like, it's immaturity and mental illness over and over and over again.
Yeah. And these people have hijacked comics, and they've dragged them down. I think to a great extent, because not everyone feels welcome. You know, I say this, you know, we talk about what Comicsgate means to me, because Comicsgate is my flag. I'm proud of Comicsgate. I'm proud to belong to it, because I believe in what it stands for. You know, what it stands for is keeping all of that to yourself. Things that are divisive, things that kind of separate you from other people. We can't have creative discussions with each other, and we can't sell each other comic books and stories. We can't get people to you know, kind of disengage from reality and enjoy a fun, escapist comic book story when we're all worried about our differences. And does this person hate me because of who I am? Because I hate them because of who they are? You know, in terms of, you know, their immutable differences or their religious beliefs. These things just do not belong in a healthy business. They don't belong there. We shouldn't be talking about stuff like this. We should be talking about how we can make comic books safe, fun, and profitable. Period.
What do you mean by safe?
That's a good question.
Safe's one of those words that's been very coded nowadays.
Yeah, it can mean a bunch of different things, but what I think it means is there's no reason for anybody to be bothering you because of those immutable differences that you have or who you are.
Yeah,
you know, it's like you shouldn't be. People shouldn't be targeting you because of your faith, your skin color, who you voted for, anything like that. It should be none of their business. Shouldn't be their business. It should be the last thing on their minds. And if you are unsafe because you are a Republican or a Christian or a Jew or gay in comics, that's a real problem. And that's something that I think Comicsgate needs to stand up against. You know, whatever your identity is should not be an issue. It should be, do you like comic book stories and do you have money to buy them? And that should be it. That's the end of the road. No more questions, Your Honor. So, you know,
it's just real simple, isn't it? I mean, like, here's a book. Would you like it? And we're even divorced from the reality of, you know, since neither one of us is putting books on shelves currently. You know, one of the things is there's limited shelf space and there's returnability, but we're just like, you know, out here on a ranch. Like, you had to come to our ranch to pretend, I'm tripping over things in your unsafe ranch. It's like, we're just making books for people who want them. And there isn't any factor of the stores or distributors or anything else right there. So,
well, they see these SJWs see our presence as unsafe, because basically what we do is we say, look, you are entirely about identity politics, and that has to stop.
You can't believe that we're not. They think that we are too, and we're not. You know, it's like basically anyone's welcome. We're only out here making comic books for people, for everyone. When they say comics are for everyone, they don't mean that. They mean comic books are for everyone unless you're Comicsgate, unless you oppose our agenda, unless you oppose our narrative. Then comics are not for you. We want you out of here. These comics are not for you. Don't buy our books. You know, and we're the exact opposite. They think that we would be as awful as they were. Like, they think if I was writing Daredevil, he'd be like, you know, he'd be working for ICE and he'd be deporting people. You know, I'd be writing him as he is, you know, a liberal, democratic Manhattan native, you know, fighting organized crime.
We're so good about that too.
If Ethan gets at Marvel, Trump is going to be hanging out with Peter Parker and saying, let's kick the darkies out of the country. And Peter Parker's going to say, right on. Like,
that's what they think. Well, they do think, they say absurd things like that, where they're just like, yeah, if they just get control, it's going to be Nazi comics left and right.
I will guarantee you that there will be a lot more bank robberies going on. I think a bank robbery, that's the bread and butter. Hey, Paste Pot Pete's leaving the First National. It's got a little bag. It's got a $sign on it. It's like, somebody stop him. It's like, somebody's me. Spidey-Man! Spidey-Man!
We're already like 10% of the way to a good comic there. Nice job.
Well, then you do a little twist that the guy robbing the bank is actually being forced to it. He's actually the victim. The bad guy's the teller, who is, figured out a way to rob money without getting in trouble. The bank robber, who isn't really a bank robber, he's got a sick aunt. Oh, Peter Parker's got a sick aunt too. And then you go from there.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Somebody just said in the chat, they said Mike Diodato just quit Marvel Comics to work on Independence.
He did that like 6 months ago, and now his art is on their next big crossover. So
that's not true. I looked it up.
Well, he left for his big project, and his big project is like Jeff Lemire, Nazi hunter, writing a barbarian. It's like, even somebody didn't think about that all the way through.
Yeah. Jersey Devil.
Sorry.
So Jersey Devil, thanks for $10. Your boy and Uncle E. I just got under 30 pages of my comic scripted. Getting excited. I do comic reviews on this channel. Sub if you like comics. But I can't wait to start talking about my own story. See, I love that.
He did a good video, I think 1 or 2 days ago on New Warriors 1, and he was just talking about, people want new heroes. And that's a big one that kind of dropped out. That was actually kind of a side effect of creator rights. People stopped creating Gambit because they're like, oh, I don't want to, create Gambit, and then Marvel owns it, so I'll wait and create, Blood Man Hunter, but then Blood Man Hunter can't interact with Daredevil, so everything just kind of fizzles. But yeah.
Eyes of the Wolf 101 says, what's next? Separate comic book stores? There kind of is a little bit of that now. There are retailers that are really predisposed to supporting Comicsgate, projects. I hear from them all the time. They're just like, look, what Cyberfrog needs to go through the direct market. You need to put it through the direct market because we need to be able to sell it.
I would love to see that. It would be so much fun, and it would be a little breath of fresh air.
Well, it's going to happen.
Especially since you got nice bright colors. It's probably going to have a nice cover.
Yeah.
The new comics, they look like they've been out in the sun for like a month.
Zach, I'm so excited about my book. I know you've already got your book, so it's old news to you.
Not really, because I made some mistakes because an unnamed bald man interfered, so I had to start from scratch. So I'm going to see. I've seen my book, but I haven't seen it optimal.
When by the time we win with everything, is it going to just be like boring, or are we going to be excited that we won?
Well, it's going to be one of those things where I think still like the cost is going to be so high. There might be of like, because I thought it was going to be like $125,000 for this whole thing, like top. I mean, my lawyers did warn me. They're like, we cannot predict the top, but you know how you go. You go to the mechanic. He's like, this could be $2,000. Or like, what's the lowest it could be? I don't know, $450. Okay, so it'll be like $475. You just kind of convince you, even though they're telling you the truth. It's going to be a big impact on me. Honestly, luckily enough, I can crowdfund it thanks to you and other people. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be 2+ years of my life. Those Gibson's Bakery, that was coming on 3 years of their life.
Yeah,
they did make $33 million though.
Yeah, but that'll be nice. If you were to make anything like that, oh my god, dude, it would have been like, just start. We could just. I wouldn't feel good about buying you a motorcycle though. I feel like you're gonna wreck it. No, I would wreck it. I'd immediately wreck it because I wouldn't respect it because it was given to me for free. But we could make a comic book company. Honestly, and
what about? Have you seen the 3-wheel? Because then you don't have to use balance.
Oh yeah, with the training wheels. Yeah.
No, it's got 2 wheels in the back. No. Nowadays it's 2 wheels in the front and 1 in the back. Right. Then you don't have to have balance. Yeah.
Raggedy Man says, "What did you think of my T-shirt idea? A T-shirt specifically advertising the YouTube channel." A Comic Artist Pro Secret shirt? Absolutely. I'm going to be doing them. And also all caps comics. I don't know if I'm going to sell a bunch of them, but of course we'll do them. A Man in Lunacy says, can you answer to the rumors that Chelson is turning frogs gay? Asking for Alex Jones. No, if anything, Chelson's turning the frogs badass.
I have a comment.
Yes.
Salamandroid.
What about him?
His real name.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
I don't care. I like it. It makes me laugh every single time. Do Ron Ron.
How is
Sorry,
it
Zach.
spelled?
It's spelled DUDARAHN. Ron. Ron.
That's like this weird Atlantic City East Coast thing. You're used to going to like a casino and seeing like old like doo-wop bands from the 1960s there, right?
Right.
Okay.
Labou says describing the bank teller as a bank teller, and then he puts a lot of never mind. Let's see. And Grimbeard says Tim Pool did nothing wrong. A lot of people mad at Zach for his.
Oh yeah. People are very defensive of Tim Pool. That's great. I mean, very, very strong opinions. So I like Tim Pool a lot. He's an actual journalist. I don't think there's going to be a shooting war in America in the next couple of years.
I don't think so either.
You really think a bunch of soy boys are going to pick up guns? Oh my gosh.
What could happen though? I mean, how does this actually? How does this work out? How does it work out? How do we solve this problem? The separation between.
Just ignore them when you can and sue them when you can't.
Yeah. All right. So here's what I want to talk about. Zach, if you had a property, let's just say that you had a kid's property. Let's say that you're Fred Rogers. Okay, you've got your characters. You've got Daniel Tiger. You've got your whole thing, and that's your whole life. You've built up your whole career on having this kid's property that entertains and educates children. Do you, at some point in the future, make it into a movie about murder?
Not unless you just have like just no hope at all. Like you can't reboot it. You can't do anything with it. And even then, it seems like just make a new property. Like, what's the point?
The Banana Splits movie. Have you heard about it?
I was scared of the Banana Splits. First of all, did you even see it? It was like 2 years before my time. You were the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age, but I do remember 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. I remember it. Yeah.
I think it was a real tail end. I just remember being scared. And it just felt like people on drugs made that show.
Well, they did. Sid and Marty Krofft. The worst. These guys suck, dude. HR Puff and stuff.
God. Why don't they just call it Kids Smoke Weed?
That's exactly what it was. Tim and his magic flute. Was it Tim?
Jeez, I don't even want to know about that one.
Yeah, and Witchy Poo. Witchy Poo gives him a magic flute that the little boy plays with. And I don't know, but these people were sinister. If anything, Sid and Marty Krofft sucked, and the Banana Splits had a great opening theme song. But here's the thing that confuses me. I'm excited about this movie in a strange way, but it's a little bit like, I have to say, like it makes me think Sid and Marty Krofft don't care about kids. I mean, I don't know. In this movie, evidently, these kids from the 1970s, they go to sit in a taping of the Banana Splits movie, and then it leads to murder. Like they're murderers, the little funny animals.
Oh, I think they're doing have you ever heard of Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah.
It's kind of, I think they're trying to do something like that.
Of course. Yeah, of course they're ripping off Five Nights at Freddy's. If you don't remember this bundle of neurotic nightmare, who wrote this? Oh, not Jude Terror. They had their own cartoon show back in the 70s, the Banana Splits Adventure Hour. They played music, jammed out with the band, and showed a ton of cartoons. Now Warner Brothers Entertainment, of course, is preparing to prove once and for all that all my concerns were warranted. The Banana Splits will offer a new take on the classic characters, which were first introduced to audiences in 1968 with the Banana Splits Adventure Hour variety program. In the upcoming horror thriller, a boy named Harley and his family, brother Austin, mother Beth, father Mitch Brightweiser, attend a taping of the Banana Splits TV show, which is supposed to be a fun-filled birthday for young Harley and business as usual for Rebecca, the producer of the series. But things take an unexpected turn, and the body count quickly rises. Can Harley, his mom, and their new pals safely escape? Okay, now that you know the gist of things, check out the horrifying new trailer, courtesy of Sci-Fi. Let's watch this trailer, Zach. Are you into this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sci-Fi, Zach. You know? Here we go. Horror, violence, and gore, Zach.
We are going to the banana splits.
Sometimes at night, I see the splits riding around in their little cars, laughing and singing.
Who's excited to see the banana split?
Rebecca, I'm canceling the show.
What?
Hey kids, put on your happiest faces because the banana split show is about to begin.
Where are the children?
Oh, get out of here.
Oh, no.
Why are you doing this to me? Let me out! Now the show can go on forever and ever and ever.
Come on, you fuzzy son of a...
Oh my God.
I really want your brother's birthday to be perfect.
They just slowed down the music.
We're gonna have so much fun.
All right, so straight to Blu-ray on that. Zach, what did you think?
It was so much worse than I imagined. It was just boring. Like, one of the things I was thinking about, have you ever noticed every time they're like, we're going to do the Flintstones, it's always to like ruin it and make it for, I don't know, some creepy weirdos?
For perverts. Yeah, no, but it's funny that Warner Brothers is doing this. They just did this to all their Hanna-Barbera properties.
Like every single one. Let's have them, it's either murderers or just like, what is that guy, Sam Humphries? It feels like he's the target market for everything. What will delight Sam Humphries?
What would Sam Humphries like?
Have you seen the picture where he's dressed like Harley Quinn?
Yeah, I saw that. Well, I've known Sam, and Sam did a comic book about a police officer who was having sex with his dog, and it was called Our Love or something like that. It's pretty disgusting. You should do a review of that one, actually. Our Love is Real, I think it was called.
I'll put it on the schedule for 1,000 years from now.
Okay, all right. Just let me know when that 1,000 years elapses. Here's what I want to know, and I mean this seriously. Is it just because these people are all dead? Because I think Sid and Marty Krofft, are they dead? I mean, I know both of the Hanna and Barbera are dead, so you can do whatever you want to their characters now. Is that what this is? Because I have to say something.
This weird personality B issues. Or
Adults
cluster B.
This is mental illness. Zach, thank God Jim Henson has people that still care about his legacy. Because can you imagine the same thing being done with Sesame Street?
Oh, yeah, they do it in a heartbeat.
Of course they would. Weirdo perverts.
Did you remember when Frank Oz actually pushed back against him?
Yes, I do.
It's just like, these are puppets and they're kids and they're symbolically children. Like, stop putting your weird hang-ups and your agenda on them. Like,
Bert and Ernie are gay, are they not? They're gay. They live together. They're gay. Everyone knows they're gay. No, they're.
Well, he's just like, and he speaks, like someone. He goes, every one of those characters, they have like a point to them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Bert and Ernie, it's about being friends with someone who you don't exactly get along, and how do you work it out with them?
Right.
It's just like they always just want to just go for like the easiest. Like they're coming out with Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show. So this guy, Charles Pulliam Moore, you'd probably recognize the name.
Yeah.
He writes this like 3,000 word essay about why this has to tackle racism in America.
Oh.
No, it's two cool dudes. It's basically bros. It's Steve's bros. They're missing him. They want to carry on the legacy. Like Winter Soldier is like, oh boy, somebody's robbing the First National Bank. And then the Falcon's just like, yeah, but slavery was worse. Like, stop. It's racist if you look at a black character and all you can think about is, we got to talk about slavery. We got to talk about racism. We got to talk about this. Maybe Sam Wilson wants to talk about his time in the military. Maybe he's like, why do I know all these people who are super scientists and I shoot Mac 10s? You know what you're hitting with a Mac 10 when you're flying with bird wings? Nothing. Ever.
That's true.
Give him some guided missiles. You know, that shoot off of the wings and they track heat or something like that. They track people's superpowers. They're just making fun of them.
What is this mental illness, though, about taking things that are for kids and then just making them psychotic?
Well, they got this weird thing where they want to be like kids, and I don't want to have kids. I'm a kid. And like people 40, like I'm a kid. It's like, no, that's not. No, kids don't want to be kids.
Yeah,
kids want to be adults.
So
the whole thing is like, you're a baby because you're 18 months younger than me.
So what is sci-fi doing, dude? What are they doing?
I don't know. All I know is Vagrant Queen is going to be a hit.
Yeah, I'm actually probably going to watch the first episode of that. I'm dying of curiosity. And
it's very, very interesting because I've read the book and there's nothing there. Like there's no idea. A black woman is in space. Mm-hmm. That's it. So it actually might be good because they don't even have to rewrite anything. There's nothing to use. It's effectively going to be whatever the showrunner wants to make.
Froglick von Happenstance says, Ethan, Zach, once the keepers of any mythology die or let go of what they once hold sacred, those works fall into the hands of those who only want to pervert and destroy them.
Oh, we saw that with Stanley. Have you seen what they did with the bullpen bulletins?
No.
Oh my gosh. We might even want to table this because it'll just make you angry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so bullpen bulletins. It was, here's our books. Here's a checklist of books coming out this month. And sometimes Stan Lee had a little section, sometimes Tom DeFalco. So what happened is, as soon as Stan Lee died, like the next month, they started cherry picking from like 30 years of bullpen bulletins by Stan Lee. And everyone they picked was really, really passive aggressively proving their side. They'll find one from like 30 years ago. It's like, they say we have too many books, but we just put out as many books as are demanded. The reason we have increased our numbers is because you're buying so many of our books.
Oh my God.
Like as soon as he was dead, the next month, and they do it every single. Now they got one and it's about like bigotry and it's beautifully written, but they're not talking about it the way Stan is. What they're trying to say is hate who we hate. And, if you don't like Ms. Marvel, you're a bigot. Yeah. Like, it's just stop. They already remember like a year before he died when they forced him to do that PSA and he couldn't even say an entire sentence at once.
Yeah.
It was all like this coded attack,
They destroyed him. The last 3 years of his life were absolutely infuriating.
It's such a tragedy.
They destroyed him in every possible way. They disgraced him. They used him to mouth their crazy SJW ideology to get revenge on their enemies. They stole his blood, literally stole his blood. They called him a rapist. And then
he was like 98 and he was getting extorted by one of his carers. And then they're like, oh, well, there's smoke, there's fire. He's 98. He has no control over anything.
Yeah.
His mind is gone, respectfully. He's 98 or 96 or something like that at the time.
And they shuttle him around.
Oh, his hand brushed up against his carer's thigh.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm just glad he can still move.
I was angry every day about the way they treated Stan Lee. These holier than thou, these gatekeepers who pretend they care about the comic book industry. Brie Larson sitting there drinking a cocktail in her ridiculous sneakers and sunglasses, holding her forehead and going, just thinking about Stan Lee dying. Oh my God. You people, like all of you people are complicit in utterly destroying and disrespecting and disgracing this great man who gave his entire life to entertain kids, utterly destroying what was left of his memory, and giving him a hard time. The last 3 years of his life were nothing but agony. Everybody torturing him, including his own family. His caretakers abusing him. People just literally drinking of his blood, taking his blood like vampires and putting it in silver ink and selling Stan Lee's blood signed copies of Black Panther. Monsters. Absolute monsters. It's infuriating. And these same people, these are the same people that are, running the comic book industry right now. And I told my listeners, I said, if Stan Lee comes to your town to do a signing, I
you
want
said
you to
leave him
know,
alone, right?
don't go. If you need Stan Lee's signature, go buy one off of YouTube. Do not, or not YouTube, eBay.
eBay, yeah.
Do not go wait in line to force this man who's there against his will, because he has that greasy LA slime ball behind him, the one that's going to jail. Don't make him do any work. He doesn't want to be doing work. Don't create a demand for this. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people did. A lot of people just decided to kind of back off and not go support this, putting this man on display. These people are, oh man, they're just absolutely horrible. It's ridiculous. Poor Stan Lee.
Yeah.
And if they're going to do that to Stan Lee, imagine what they'll do to you. It's like, imagine what they'll do to you. You haven't done a tenth of what Stan Lee's done for the industry. They will literally.
I'm not worried about that. Their time is over. I mean, they're just too much. They're too ugly. They're too hate filled. They're too poor. You need money to have an effect on culture and society. They're too contradictory. They're too openly gleeful. Like that thing you were saying about, if you're talking about a serious subject, stop giggling and doing cutesy little tweets about it. It's just too much. They always have to overplay their hand. They're not going to be a factor in, I don't want to give an exact date. Certainly not when I'm going to die.
Tomorrow. Let me read some super. I want them out of here. I do. Every time. Well,
we've already seen how you deal with them. If you can ignore them, you do. You say step up. I don't even think step up. Like, you just don't have to turn around. You go to New York City, somebody says, I'm Napoleon. You don't have to turn around and like, oh, you just ignore them. Dynamite ignored them when they came after you. They gave up after 30 hours. They went after Christopher Priest. I think they gave up like in 5 hours on that one. They're like, yeah, this is not going to slide. And sometimes you have to sue someone. You got to sue Mark Wade, but they saw that and they're acting better. We saw him go up to a level and come back. So,
all right, let me read some super chats. Snowdub Music and Entertainment says, Uncle E, check out my song Snowdub, something mumble rap. Okay. Sometimes Pop says, what do you think of the 2 Game of Thrones writers going into writing Star Wars after the lazy Game of Thrones ending? P.S. Congrats on finishing Cyberfrog. Thanks. I said initially it can't be worse than Rian Johnson, but I could be wrong.
They just need to stop. Just stop.
Then to stop making Star Wars stuff?
Yeah, you go to George Lucas. What is he, like 69, 70?
Yeah.
He's all there. You say, hey, write it. He's involved in the Mandalorian, which is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we want to change your contract. Can you visit Star Wars World, whatever it's called, at Disneyland 4 times a year, and write us another 3 movies. 3 movies will take us through 10 more years. You don't have to direct. You're 70. We're going to get good directors. And if we can get 1 more TV show out of you and 3 more movies, we're good.
Yeah.
That would get them to 10 to 15 years of product.
Trevor Nielsen says, Imperious Leader has entered. Bow your heads. Sailor Moon loves Tuxedo Mask says, I believe Mike's Bitcoin is future dinos 500 years old. Let's see. Legendary Uriah says, you should make a Comicsgate documentary. GR People says, Hail Caesar, love the more frequent live streams. Well, we've had 2 in a row. Lucifer Love Monkey says, insert plug for Zach's legal fund here. Yo, for real. Thank you guys, by the way. They're coming through. I mean, they're
seriously $12,000 in the last 2 months.
Awesome. Guys, if you haven't yet supported Zach's GoFundMe campaign to sue the living hell out of Mark Wade, please do so. It's on GoFundMe. Richard C. Meyer and you will, if I have any wrenches in the chat who want to pull that link up, and please put it in the chat, I'd appreciate it. Lucifer Love Monkey, thank you. Sailor Moon says, I also believe, Mike, that dinosaurs started Bitcoin. We're busting on Mike Miller a lot. JR People says, wow, look at the Captain Marvel TV ad. JR People says, bring back the pencil E. No, I do. When I make my normal videos, I still do them the same way. I pencil pointed at the iPad.
I get so much anxiety when you do that.
I know. But you know what?
Do you remember 15 years ago where they had that kind of gel monitor screen for, remember that?
Yeah. It
was a little soft. It would push in. And you put the sharp, I know it can't do anything in modern day, but it's so sharp looking.
Well, I want you to understand that the pencil, first of all, has blue, non-photo blue lead, which is extremely soft. So it's almost like crayon. And also, I never really touch the screen with my pencil. I just point at it. So even
if remember back in the day, 15 years ago, someone would have like a pen in their hand and they'd tap your screen and you just want to just smash your face in.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. A little sidebar. I got your next video. Have you seen the Captain Marvel where this woman talks? Her name is like Beth Elderkin.
Mm-mm.
That's all I'm going to give you. You're going to see the title of this article and you're going to be like, what the hell? You're gonna be doing a video 30 minutes after you finish this live stream.
Is Beth Elderkin the one who said that I'm the responsible for Chuck Wendig getting fired? Is that the same Beth?
I just know that name is it's like they turned blue hair into a name.
Yeah,
blue hair is supposed to warn you. I don't think that's a real name. There's this whole thing with kin that SJWs do. I'm something kin. I'm whatever. Yeah. You might want to Google it just to see the title. You're probably just going to end the live stream right now. Just hang up on me.
I don't want to. Let's see. Neo Star Productions.
Are you done with this Q2 stuff?
What's Q2?
For LLCs, you gotta pay your taxes quarterly.
Yeah, Zach, it's pretty easy. You just go on the IRS website and you make the same payment that you always make.
I stress out so much about this stuff. Like the whole week.
It's not hard. I always
think I'm gonna screw it up, and I'm gonna Wesley Snipes myself. And then when I finally do it, like you say, it's so easy. It's like 45 minutes. But yeah,
you just go on the IRS.gov, and IRS.gov. You go in there, and you could say make a payment towards quarterly payment, and you generally you want to make this, even though. There's no way I've so far made the same amount of money this year as I made last year. And you still want to kind of estimate towards that. And
so you don't have to get that big bill later on.
Yeah, that's all it is. And then you do it every 3 months. Let's see. So Neostar Production says Heather Antos doesn't seem to have any sense of irony. In fact, I don't think she has very much sense at all. Professor Romandov says, Ethan, your voice sounds so much clearer than normal after Zach speaks. Agent, because you were on there going, Zach. Agent Jeremy says, I'm so ignorant. Before I started listening to you, I thought alt-right was a gay guy who voted for Trump. Thanks, Uncle A. You could still be right. John Turcott says, Hail Caesar, your SJW voice is friggin' hilarious. Darth Gavel says, the left is suffering from right derangement syndrome. Grand Inquisitor says, which mouse pad are you going to buy, Uncle A? Yeah, that's the problem. You go to One Angry Gamer, he's got all this porno, like, manga or anime stuff like for your computer. Got mouse pads, and like you rest your hand on a puffy girl's rear end that's poking out, and it's
does anyone use mouse pads? I haven't seen one.
I have one. Yeah, I use one for my my Alienware computer. I got it now, and it's got the puffy little spot for my wrist to sit on, and it's comfy.
No one ever buys an Alienware without describing it as Alienware every time they talk about it for the rest of their life.
I don't know what that means though. But like people said, you're buying
Alienware. It's a big deal for gamers. It's Alienware.
I don't
get like a light on the inside, right?
Yeah.
That light cost you an extra $700.
Did it? I shouldn't have bought this. This was the first thing I bought with my Cyberfrog money though, because it was like, yeah, I kind of need this to do what I'm doing. And it was nice. It's basically for free, tax deductible.
Actually, you do need a good, because I had this weird thing where I was reviewing the proofs, and they were not in I was like, it doesn't look like the proofs are fixed. And then I talked to the guy, and he was sending me screenshots. For some reason, my tablet cannot process the proofs to check them properly. So I had to have him screenshot them and then send them back, and then I approved them like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually do need a pretty good computer if you're gonna,
Well, I would like to use my computer better. I would like to use OBS, and I'd like to be like everyone else. I still have no time to sit down and figure that out. And
you talking about like higher quality videos and stuff?
Yeah. Like the quartering does. I'll have my face in the corner going, "Hey everyone," and showing everyone my beard, and I'd be like, "Yeah, they're at it again. What can I tell you? It's terrible. Rob Liefeld, blah blah blah." And I show like an image, and you keep looking at my face the whole time. Now, that's what everybody else does. I'm still doing.
Did you cover Rob Liefeld when he was doing all the videos? Like doing all the posts the other day?
Yeah, I did 2 Rob Liefeld videos that are doing pretty good, and I'm going to talk about him again. I'll talk about him right now because, Rob Liefeld is actually getting views. People are interested in what Rob Liefeld's up to. Because
I love that guy, but each one was like not quite enough to do a video on, at least for me. But yeah, he was kind of, I think his deal, he's really mad at DC. I'm not sure why. When it seems like Marvel is the one who screwed him over because he did this Major X. He created a new original black character. That's what Major X is. He's black, and people like this Major X. And then C.B. Cebulski and Matthew Rosenberg, they're like, yeah, get ready for Powers of X by Jonathan Hickman. None of the books matter. And Matthew Rosenberg's like, I knew it didn't matter. Welcome. Matthew Rosenberg is the biggest like corporate, what is that word? Not corporate, company man ever. He's angling to be the next Tom Brevoort. I guarantee it. Like, it's embarrassing. He's like, I super knew none of my stories mattered, and I am proud to welcome. Like, oh my gosh, dude, no. And then Rob was pissed. He's like, yeah, nobody told me this. I was swinging for the fences.
Yeah, Matthew Rosenberg, is he the guy who immediately said, by the way, of course, just let it be clear, I am never working with Ethan Van Sciver. I think that was one of his early tweets. And it's funny, that other guy, Donnie Cates, who's like, I'm never working with Ethan Van Sciver. I was like, I don't even know who you are. One of my fans found a tweet of him. I think I had posted in 2016. Like I said something like, hey, I better get a lot better because this new crop of DC talent that's coming in is pretty good. And Donnie Cates tweeted back at me and said, come on, Ethan, just come do something with me. And I ignored him. I didn't know who he was. I left him hanging. He had a blue check mark and everything, and I left him hanging. And so people have been beating up Donnie Cates with that tweet of him begging to work with me from just 3 years ago. Now he's like, fuck Comics Gate. Interesting. No, here's why I want to talk about Rob Liefeld, Zach. Rob Liefeld has been torching DC Comics. Rob Liefeld had trouble in 2012 during the entire New 52.
I remember it was just a lot of hurt feelings on both sides, but he just got dissed by Marvel, so I don't get what something new happened. I don't understand.
I think honestly, like since then, he's just kind of let it seethe. He's let it kind of bubble underneath the surface because, DC just kind of said, like when he was having trouble with his editors when he was doing 2 books at once. And they finally fired him, I think, or he quit, something like that. However, DC let that happen, and he's just been seething with that. So he let that flame, like the flamethrower, just go off and just torch that bridge when he senses that there's going to be some trouble over there. And plus, I think Rob is kind of a similar belief that the comic book industry is dead, and it doesn't really matter. You can.
He said it flat out. He goes, "Yeah, go ahead and blacklist me for your 2 more years." like the thing I said, like there's no going back. You've killed so many stores that Jonathan Hickman's super hit is going to sell 80,000.
Yeah.
And Sean Gordon Murphy's super hit is going to sell 80,000. And then, 5% more or 10% more are going to go out of business next year. Did you see, do you ever see my community post, YouTube posts? It's kind of like Facebook on YouTube. It'll show up on your subscription feed.
No, I don't think so.
Somebody sent me a picture, and I've seen this stuff at my shop, and I've seen it all over the country. 6 or 7 rows, new comics, it's just 2 rows. 5 empty rows.
Wow.
And I was like, I remember 10 years ago during a recession, a real recession. Remember when gas was like $5 like 10 years ago? Oh, you're the East Coast. It was probably like $6.
No, it almost got to $5. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
so it was like $4 here, and I was freaking out. Now it's like $2 10 years later. It was a real recession, and $4 an hour or $4 a gallon gas. And I would go into a store and they would have every book out there. It would take you 20 minutes just to go through all the new books. And now, like, it's just like, it's 2 minutes. Yes, no, I'm done. Like, there's no fixing it. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just say what you think about everyone.
Yeah, you might as well.
People.
I'm kind of that opinion right now. I think that like what we're doing is going to be the future anyway. People are going to arrive at it eventually. The longer they do not arrive at it, the better for us, frankly. The competition's kind of limited. But yeah, I'm not worried about it at all. And neither is Rob Liefeld. But I think that because Rob Liefeld is doing this, people Bleeding Cool and others are pointing out that Rob Liefeld has a Indiegogo or a Kickstarter that's 5 years old. And have you seen
I actually
this?
backed it.
Did you back it? Did you back it when
Oh,
it was
well,
Indiegogo?
it's even worse. He has a Kickstarter that's 5 years late, and then he did an Indiegogo. He goes, "I'm definitely done." And I go, "Oh, I like Rob Liefeld. I backed it." And no, he doesn't even update. He updates like every 2 or 3 months.
Well, he's been updating lately because his attacking of Marvel or DC Comics has kind of brought attention to it. So there's this guy on Twitter who's decided to just call himself Liefeld Stole Money from Kickstarter. Here's a video of Rob Liefeld pitching a Kickstarter to relaunch Brigade. It worked. He pocketed $35,000 6 years ago. By the way, that's like, I have to say, I think I'd be really worried if $35,000, Zach, you're like Rob Liefeld, and you make $35,000 at a Kickstarter. Well, we don't need
5 years ago, 6 years ago, that was actually okay-ish.
Yeah.
Right now, it'd be embarrassing.
It's really tough.
Well, that's the other thing you say. You say that, hey, it's good because we'd have a lot of competition if they all came over right now. Number one, I'm not worried about that at all. Number two is actually I forgot my second point too.
Yeah, but it is true. Like
something about Rob Liefeld.
Yeah,
35,000. Oh, I think our success is going to be humiliating for them. When you're, I don't know, Sam Humphries, and you don't have Green Lantern or Harley Quinn to use, and you come over and do an Indiegogo and you make 25,000. Where do you go from that?
It kind of sorts out who's who, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, you and I have incredible fans, and
I cannot wait till next month to see the Comic-Con sales figures for Ignited #1 by Mark Waid and Kwanzaa.
It's gonna be great.
Even the show media was just like, no.
Yeah.
So Mark, he always has characters that have 80 years of history, and then Kwanzaa always has like this shill media just like he's running for president or something like that. And they didn't get either one. They got these trash characters they were handed or co-created, and even Newsarama was like 4.6 out of 10. This is trash. Oh my god, it's gonna be so funny.
I can't wait. Well, we got Rob Liefeld here, and he is all right. So,
can I say something for white people everywhere?
Sure.
Oh, start moisturizing when you're like 23.
Because of Rob?
Just him, me, we age like salad. That's 5 years ago, and it looks like 20 years ago.
You know what it is, though? I'll tell you this. I find that people who drink a lot and have been drinking for a long time have that problem that you're talking about. Their face breaks.
I've never been a big drinker, but I was in 2 desert wars, so that's my excuse.
You're dried out.
Yeah,
you're dried out. It's like that's what alcohol does. I guess that's what being in the desert does. I'm Mormon, so I didn't drink until I was, and I even barely now even drink. I have a beautifully stocked liquor cabinet. I just look at it and I like the way it looks. I barely ever drink. I might drink twice a month. And that's why my skin is so beautiful. Skin is just beautiful. That's what everybody says to me.
I wouldn't have started this if it just would have led all to this.
Well, I'm sorry. It's too late now. You've let me brag about how beautiful.
Would you describe it as being buttery?
No, buttery is greasy. I wouldn't say greasy. I would just say supple.
God, no. Move on.
I got you. All right. See here, Liefeld's update 56. Liefeld did like 81 updates on this Kickstarter campaign. He says that Marat Michaels.
Who does he think he is? Nasser Rabadi?
I said he'd do 81. I've done maybe 4 updates. I can't just it's underway. I don't have 81 things to say about it. He said Marat Michaels penciled issue 3 of the already 3 years late Kickstarter at that point. This was 2016. Where are all the 3 issues, these issues of this series you were paid for? And don't forget all the perks. He says, look, I'm inking over Marat Michaels pencils for issue 3, which is complete. This is going to be bigger than anyone originally imagined. You'll see why soon. Update, Marat Michaels confirms he has not penciled a single page.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Was wondering if you did the pencils on Rob Liefeld's Brigade Kickstarter. Nope, not a single page. Rob Liefeld caught lying. Oh my God, dude. He's like, I'm inking the 3rd issue of Marat's pencils. Marat's like, I haven't penciled 1 page.
So Marat, he's doing the Rob Liefeld thing. He's like, this whole industry's done in 2 years. I'm just putting everyone on blast.
Like, you would never. Marat is one of Rob Liefeld's main soldiers.
Stalwarts for like 25 years.
Yeah. I just love him, man. I love him. No, not a single page. No, not issue 3. And then just to remind you, here's the post from 2016. I changed the ending to issue number 1 to include some familiar characters. In the meantime, issue 2 is looking good. I'm inking over Marat Michaels pencils for issue number 3. Why is issue 2 looking good when he's already inking the pencils for issue 3, which is complete? I don't understand that. He must mean that the colors and everything are done for issue 2. This is going to be bigger than originally imagined. You'll see why soon. I'll have these in hand shortly. And if you saw the Deadpool movie, thank you. It reminding you, that, you know what I mean? Like, this is my status, you know. Deadpool, yeah. It hasn't done shit. This was 2 years ago. He didn't do any. Like, none of this was done. It's 2 years later. But I mean, this is the scary thing about these crowdfunding campaigns. Like, seriously.
My question is, Rob, what's his net worth? 2 million?
I don't know.
3 million? I remember looking it up, and it was the lowest of all the image people, which shocked me. It's 35,000 just for fund to everyone. It's literally 2 clicks of a button on Kickstarter, and as long as they have the same card or the same bank account, you can. I refunded stuff from like 3 years. It was just like 1 hour of my day, like click, 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 click. A couple people, it didn't work. I had to ask for their PayPal. Just give it back. It's 35,000. That should be like nothing to it.
Yeah, I just at this point, first of all, why did he do it? Was it for the money? Because then, the thing about it is that, in December, in this past December, he relaunched it on Indiegogo, and this time even worse. Oh,
it did terrible. I think it did like 2,000 or 3,000.
No, you're wrong. It did way more than that, dude.
Are you sure? Last time I checked, it had made nothing. I even promoted it, and everyone was like, "Be quiet, stop doing this."
Really? Yeah,
they were not having it.
It made way 2,000-3,000. What are you kidding me? He's Rob Liefeld. Why would you say that? It made $5,100. $5,156, dude. Why do you do it? What do you do? I can get anyone to do better than that. I'm not Rob Liefeld. I'm not at all. Like, I don't have his clout. It's like I didn't create Deadpool. And I wasn't one of the image founders. 51.
Would you have been? Let's say that you're 10 years older than you are, and you would have been at Marvel drawing Avengers. Oh no, Avengers was nothing back then.
Yeah,
you were on one of the X books.
Yeah. Would
you have left with all of them to go start Image, or would you stayed with Marvel?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would have followed Todd McFarlane anywhere. Todd McFarlane's a leader. I would have recognized. I feel like Todd McFarlane's a spirit kin spiritual kin of mine.
Yeah.
He is somebody who he ain't that educated, but he's way smarter than the idiots around him. And the idiots around him who fail all hate him. And he just kind of goes, well, what are you going to do? And does his own thing. He's got the same kind of attitude of make people come to you. I love Todd McFarlane was a big inspiration. I used to read all his interviews, and they'd say, what are you doing? Like, Marvel Comics is in New York City. Why did you move out to Vancouver, Washington, which is on the other, it's the opposite, it's on the opposite coast. And he'd say, well, if they want me, they'll come to me. He's like, I'm not like these guys who sit there and linger in the offices begging for work. You know that they want you when they actually come to you and chase you across the country to get you. And I mean, that is psychological. That is awesome. I mean, to be fair, everybody did want him at that point, and he must have known it. But that's just so much cooler than like Jamal Igle. You know what I mean? Like hoping to be taken to lunch by an assistant editor, hanging around the office. So much cooler than that.
Do you ever watch that cartoonist kayfabe?
No.
I love that channel. So they go through old wizards and they'll read interviews with them. Everything with image, he described it like years before it happened.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm going to do this for a couple more years and I'm going to start my own company because, why should I do this for, and you fade. Can you imagine if he would have stayed in the system? He'd be doing like, I just got a gig. Yeah. Oh, they're going to give me 2 of the War of the Realms covers. I've been blowing up that 25-year-old assistant editors. I've been liking all their tweets. Oh boy, Toddy's back on top.
Yeah, you have to mouth the right words on social media.
It's so embarrassing. I used to see that. You'd see them. I called it cyber flirting.
Yeah.
And you just see them. It's like Gail Simone does it shamelessly. She's like, I just want to say that if anyone messes with, and she'll mention like the top 2 people in the industry, Greg Capullo or Scott Snyder, they've got to go through me first.
Yeah. What is it? It was cringy beyond belief. You called it cyber flirting. I call it grooming. It's something that big orange monkeys do, like orangutans. They do this in the animal kingdom. In order to be allowed into the right social groups in the monkey kingdom, you have to go up behind one of them and either let them, pretend to bang you in the butt, or you can eat the fleas off of them, one of the two. So you stand over the most powerful alpha or the right social clique in the monkey kingdom, and then you just pick at their fur and you pull fleas and ticks off of them and eat them. And that's how that's called grooming, social grooming.
The thing is that I always wondered, is it intuitive or is it scheduled? Because I swear it felt like it was on like a daily planner, second Tuesday of the month.
Yeah.
Find whoever's in the top 10. It's like Tom King is the bee's knees, and I don't care who knows it.
Yeah, it is. And they just tolerate it. You know what I mean?
Have you ever interacted with her actual persona, like her actual personality?
I'd like to think so, yeah.
No, have you ever acted where she wasn't, the Gail Simone on Twitter and stuff like that, where she talked like a normal person?
Yeah. I mean, I spent 10 days with her in Australia, her and her husband.
Okay.
And she loves to talk about her IQ. That's her thing. She talks about how incredibly intelligent she and her kids are, and how, her kid, I think, and he just picks up a guitar and he just plays it like he learned how to play guitar, taught himself it in like a second. He's like a virtuoso. And we just have high IQs, I was like, they ain't that high. It's not that your IQ isn't that high. I think so. I think that's I met the real person. But yeah, the person on social media is just dreadful. It's just dreadful. It's so gross. And just the little jokes and everything, and it's just all phony. It's just all phony. I don't know. That's social grooming, Zach. If anybody wants to mess with your boy Zach, they're gonna have to go through me. It's just like, ugh. It's true though. I'll fuck you up. All you.
What was this Australia trip? You told me one time Dan Slott was it? Who was all on this trip?
Me, Dan Slott, Gail. I don't remember who
Was
else.
it for Marvel?
No, it was it was for they had a big show in Australia, big convention, and they bring out guests from the United States, and it was me and Gail and Dan Slott. It was fun. It was fun. I really liked Australia. Where did we go? We went to Christchurch and I don't remember. I actually don't remember now. But it was a good time, and we were on a bus, like we were traveling from place to place. We got on airplanes. Oh, it was a bunch of cast members from Survivor. Were hanging out with us. It was all right. Was it Perth? I don't know. It wasn't in Perth. No, it was the. I'll remember it eventually, but it was good. We went to like 3 different cities and we did signings and Christchurch. We did Christchurch. We took a plane over there. I know Christchurch is in New Zealand, but that's the only one I remember because I wanted to call it Christchurch, and they said no, it's Christchurch. But we all got in an airplane. I was with, I think, somebody named Jenna from Survivor. She had just done a Playboy spread, But it was fun. It was fun. But anyway, this is the thing, Zach. If you do a Indiegogo and you raise 51, 56, just refund, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is not worth your time at all. Maybe it's like you're like 20 years old and this is like your first step in. But if you do that on your second one, you also get 5,000. Just call it a day.
Just refund it immediately. I don't know why you would keep this and obligate yourself to produce a comic book.
Well, people are going to say, I'm not going to get the Indiegogo fee and I'm not going to get the credit card handling fee back, but your time is worth money and you're going to spend weeks of your time trying to get this out and it's just going to be miserable. It's just not worth it. I had a Kickstarter that made $3,300. It took me most of my free time for a freaking year.
Yeah.
Even if I couldn't afford at the time, I couldn't afford to refund the $3,300. Refund $300 a month and just be done with it.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I mean, that's, this is the thing. So it's weird to just hang on to this and not let go. We talk about like B. Clay Moore and his $20,000. Remember the early, the great Captain Cummings videos that he used to do. Whereas the 20,000, just refund it. Like he's promising to do a hardcover 100-page collection of all new stories of Hawaiian Dick. And he has $20,000. Now, before we got into crowdfunding, I used to think, we would talk about it. I'd be like, 20,000, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that was mind blowing. Like, whoa.
Yeah, like you got $20,000. But if you get $20,000 and that's what you're promising people, refund it immediately. You can't afford it. I really like Nasser Rabadi's whole thing. Like Nasser Rabadi will make $2,100, $2,200 or $1,000, I should say, for on an Indiegogo campaign for just a regular comic book. And then he'll just produce a cheap comic book and he makes a little bit of a profit on it. He's not over promising. He always delivers, and he's able to do it with the amount of money that he does. You get just a few people in there, maybe 100, 200 backers. You produce a reasonably priced comic book, costs maybe 60 cents to print, and then you deliver. But this is Rob Liefeld, dude. It's Rob Liefeld. No wonder he's mad.
I think this is why a lot of pros are not coming over here. They're terrified of, coming over and making. Well, we saw what happened with Kwanzaa. He went from almost 100,000 to a little over 50,000. Jamal it's the same one. Like, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. What if they do that? Like, what if somebody comes over here? What I wanted to know was that. I thought that what's his name? Not Scott Snyder. I heard Scott Snyder was going to do one, and I was kind of like,
heard that. Wow.
I heard that from someone, and I don't know where they heard it from, but I couldn't find any confirmation of it. I just took it as truth. So I was waiting for Scott Snyder to do his Indiegogo campaign. It was going to, or Kickstarter. It was going to say so much. If Scott Snyder did an Indiegogo campaign, like what would the results be?
Depend on the artist. I always think about Sean Gordon Murphy. Sean Gordon Murphy could make $1 million. He comes over, he does one, it's $1 million.
Yeah, I kind of think he probably could because he's got that connection to his fan base.
Yeah.
Batman artist, Sean Gordon Murphy. I don't know why these people just continue to try to play this game. You could come over here.
Oh boy, that 25-year-old assistant editor, they answered my email. Power Pack Annual, here I come.
It is true. It's crazy. Just come over here and make some money, for goodness sakes. But there's also this thing that they say. They just go, well, I don't want to come over there and just for a quick cash grab ruin my entire career. Like, they're afraid. They've got each other afraid to actually come over here and crowdfund their own comic books. They think it's going to destroy whatever is left of their careers. Hatch45XX says Vic Mignogna line insanely long. He looks happy. Oh my God, that convention's going on right now. Anime Missouri or whatever it is going on right now in Texas. That Umbrella guy is there. Nick Rekieta is there. And Vic Mignogna is there. They tried to keep him out of this convention. Somebody like Renfamous and all of her weirdos tried to keep Vic, tried to get him kicked from his convention. And luckily, this convention stood up and said, nope, we're going to keep him here. And Vic's line is insanely long, according to Hatch450SX. That's great news. Renfamous is going to meet Umbrella Guy. If Umbrella Guy goes live tonight, Last Crusader says Tug is 6'8" tall. I knew it. I would love to see him.
I did not. I always imagined like Kevin Spacey. You know, Kevin Spacey always plays Southerners all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine some 5'10" guy.
He will. I promise you. First of all, Tug has tattoos all over. I know that about him. And I heard he was really, really tall. So I know that if I ever saw Tug's face, it would completely subvert my expectations because, yeah, I'd expect something kind of like that too, except a little bit younger, Southern kind of geeky cracker kind of guy, you know. But no, I think he probably looks like he's rides a Harley. Harleys are cool. And I think he's probably got a long beard, long hair. I think he probably looks like he's in Metallica. What do you think of that?
I think you went a little crazy on that one.
No, for real. That's Tug's phone is dead. Somebody says. Did anybody take a picture of Tug like in his mask? Tug is a big mother effer. They're saying
he actually looks pretty scary. People send me screenshots. He's like 7 foot tall in a serial killer mask and a Freddy Krueger hat, and he looks scary as hell.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm expecting. They're saying they're betting a beer belly. I don't think so. I think tall and slender, but biker kind of. It loots like he would be somebody inside of a Jason costume, you know, or a Michael Myers costume. That's sweet, dude. I cannot wait to hear what he has to say about this convention because Renfamous is like, I'm coming up to see you. And Tug's like, why are you trying to start trouble? God, what happened? I wish I were there. I told Andrew I was getting on a plane. She's like, no, you're not. I would love to go there right now.
Are you really going to go to that Star Wars thing next year?
Yeah.
That sounds so boring. Okay, exactly. You basically said what I said. Yeah, it's work.
Gotta go, cannot not go. And, you know, last time I walked around and I tried to make myself pretty open to stuff happening, I was live streaming the entire time. Nobody came up to me at all. Like, I was hoping somebody would come and go, you're toxic. Nothing, you know. Nobody harassed me.
I know I got the you know, when they start giving you, one of the things I hate about comic conventions is they're like, we're giving you a special chance to pre-order, to do this, to get a. I was like, what? No. Like New York Comic Con was sending, you know, they'd send you automatically. I was like, I thought about it. I was like, should I go? I was like, nah, I don't care.
Hail Caesar. Oh, I read that one. Let's see. Let me read the rest of these super chats. Okay, I read that one. Eric Weather says, everyone back Flying Fortress on Indiegogo right now. Immortal Coil says, really enjoyed your Phoenix, Marvel, Disney, Fox conspiracy video, EVS. Shouted you out in my last video. Can you speak about this topic again? Disney deliberately sabotaged.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. It's one of those ones where people are blowing up. They're like, have you heard the video Ethan did? I'm not really into the conspiracy theories. I think people are too simple and too obvious in general. But then I listened to yours and I listened to Midnight's Edge. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, they definitely did.
They did this on purpose.
They interfered tortiously.
No, you can't tortiously interfere with something you own.
Creatively. Well, they didn't own it yet. See, this is the thing. They didn't own it yet. Fox was working on the Phoenix movie right before the merger happened, which wasn't until March. Now, Phoenix was supposed to, be in theaters in November of last year. And they pushed it to February. Interestingly enough, they tied the knot, and then they pushed it again. They tied the knot in March, Disney and Fox, and the movie still had not hit the screens. And then it hit the screens, apparently unrecognizable from what the original product should have been.
Well, yeah, I heard it was filmed like 2 years ago.
Yeah. They've been working on this thing forever, and I'm not saying that makes it any better. It would still be a piece of junk, but I'm just saying that, it's very, very clear that Disney, as part of the deal that they were making with Fox, was interfering creatively with the Dark Phoenix movie, because it resembled so closely their Captain Marvel movie, to the point where Zach, the Skrulls were going to be in it. The Skrulls were the bad guys in the Dark Phoenix movie. And
were they the Skrulls or were they Skrull-like?
They were the Skrulls. They had to be changed. They were the legit Skrulls. They had to be changed. And Dark Phoenix would have been the first the female Marvel-led movie, essentially. Female in the title.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. So they probably negotiated this deal for like a year. And they're like, well, it'll cause problems if X, Y, and Z. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
And then when they put it out, I got to tell you, Captain Marvel is actually better than Dark Phoenix.
That's something else. Well, I haven't seen either yet. Across the
board. They're both not good, but like Dark Phoenix, you can sit through Captain Marvel. You get yourself. Have you ever had the popcorn at the? Do you guys have the nice theaters out in Jersey, like the nice ones?
Yeah, where you buy the seat itself and you.
Oh yeah, I was out on the West Coast and they have one. It's like a rec room, and they had it's like truffle butter popcorn that has no kernel. It's like 100% pop.
Mm-hmm.
You get some good popcorn, you can make it through Captain Marvel. You'd be rolling your eyes. You're like, yeah, whatever. I like Sam Jackson. Right. Like there's nothing to hold on to. Even when they bring people you like everyone looks sad.
Mm.
Like Jennifer Lawrence just doesn't want to be there. And she's just like angry, and she's like, and then everyone likes Michael Fassbender. I think he's there, and he's just like done with it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad.
I like Michael Fassbender. I really respect him.
Yeah,
I'm surprised to see him in this.
I don't know if he was on a contract and had to do it, but then they have this New Mutants movie, and my theory, I don't think it's ever coming out. I think it's buried forever.
I hope so. I mean, they actually had the producer denounce Dark Phoenix and then also denounce New Mutants. I mean, and then quickly delete the tweet. I had to make a video about that. That was phenomenal.
And she was the one who like started the whole franchise. Way back in the 1990s, I remember reading in like, Wizard, it's like, Lauren Shunan Donner is thinking about doing X-Men movies starring Danny DeVito and Bob Hoskins or some stuff, whatever they used to talk about back in. They'd always cast Schwarzenegger in everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to be Sergeant Rock.
Yeah.
They tried to make that happen for like 10 years.
Yeah. So she's denouncing everything, and they did. They destroyed the franchise. Those of you who want to know more, the video is up. Let me just check and see what it's called again, real quick. Go back and watch that video. It is people are reacting to it pretty strongly because it is true. It's called "How Disney MCU Sabotaged Dark Phoenix to Protect Brie Larson's Captain Marvel," and I'm pretty sure I'm correct. It's a long title, but I use up every letter that I'm allowed to use in my title.
I do that too. I max it out.
I mean, PewDiePie does it right. PewDiePie just goes, "What the F is this?" And that's the title of his video. Well, and I'm like, what?
You can't get. That's what you did on this one.
Yeah.
Something enemies falling down. I was like, oh, I got to. And it's a guy I didn't hear about until 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Well, technically, it's true. It's not clickbait. It's true.
Well, it's just one after another. I mean, you look at like Kieran Shiak, and it's like, his whole life has been destroyed. for all the same reasons. It's just all
Somebody
failure.
sent me something. Was he lecturing you recently or something?
Yeah, he said something.
Oh no, it was Chelsea
no.
Kane. He was trying when she was down and she had left, like a complete panic attack. He needed to bully her afterwards. She's like, she's probably going to turn this around where she's the victim. It's like she's the victim,
you douchebag.
100%.
And at the same time, I've got people coming to me, and I'm, look, Chelsea Kane to me, I don't really care, except I think I've never read anything of hers. But I think her ideas seem to be pretty good. I mean, I have to admit, man-eaters, it's disgusting, but it's a pretty good idea for a comic book for 13-year-old girls.
And it's actually selling for the sad sales right now. It's selling consistently good. I think it's at 8,000, whereas a lot of those things plummet down to 4,000. I reviewed 2 or 3. The first one, I was like, this is SJW. And I was like, no, this is good. It's not. It's definitely not for me.
Yeah.
But I think there is an audience. I think, middle schoolers, girls, I think they would like this and they would think it was funny and edgy. So, and it's sold solidly. Although, unfortunately, she says she made no money off of it. She said it was financially ruinous. And I can't really figure that one out.
Well, people are yelling. They're saying she stole it from an episode of the Grimm TV show, Ethan, with a lot of exclamation marks. Well, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, if that's true, then that's a terrible thing.
And Grimm is set in Portland, and this is set in Portland also.
Oh, that's another.
Grimm is a good show. I only caught a couple. That's a show that I would actually just watch the whole thing, start from the beginning.
Yeah. So in any case, I don't know what to say. What I can say is this: when Chelsea Kane, who basically was the figurehead of the SJW movement in comics, way before I think you even got into it, like right before you got into making videos, Chelsea Kane.
I remember this very, very well.
Yeah,
I was on Twitter under my old account, and I was in the Bay Area, and I bought Mockingbird #1. It had this great cover. It looked like complete action, and it was SJW garbage. And I literally ripped it. Oh, I ripped it and I took a picture. This is my origin story. Wow. And I had whatever 200 followers or something ridiculous like that.
You took a picture and put it on Twitter. What did you do?
Yeah, I just said I didn't understand because it was my first time having disposable income in like a decade.
Yeah.
So it's like, I like Mockingbird. I think she's a cool hero. And it was just they rewrote she later in the thing rewrote a rape to that it was an affair, and she just lied about it being a rape. What the hell?
Oh, by the way, the quartering's here. He says, "Yo, boy Zach, I really enjoyed this TV show or movie." And he says, "Okay, got it. Skipping that. Smiley face. Love you, buddy."
You know what people have been saying on my other channel? I do TV and movies, and people have been saying I've been turning around. They go, "Oh, I can trust you now."
What are you just posting the opposite of how you really feel? I mean,
no, not at all. I did the most controversial ones at the beginning. Now it's like I'll watch like Ronin with Robert De Niro. I was like, this is cool. It's like I love that. I did vampires. Everyone liked vampires.
Yeah, I hated vampires, man. I thought
vampires is. I will describe it if you haven't seen it. It's how your dad would fight vampires. It's a lot of tools. It's a lot of making sure you did your chores. Hey, did you sharpen the stakes? Yeah, I sharpened the stakes. Like that's like the half the movie is just him checking with his underlines if they did their work.
Yeah,
I attach him to it. I love it. I wanted to get the rights to make it a movie or a comic.
Oh, well, that's probably available to you. But hang on, because you know why. Cecil DC just gave Harley Q to the Destroyer of Vertigo. Oh, I saw that. Andy Corey.
I saw that too. That's probably worth a video right there.
Andy Corey getting to do Harley Quinn.
So first of all, I looked into it because I was like, oh hell no, and especially the description of the article. It's like she was protecting women. Like you're like, oh gosh, SJWs have destroyed Harley Quinn, utterly destroyed. Probably the last great Batman character. She's Sam Humphries right now. But I think it could be okay because it's being written, I believe, written and drawn by Stepjon Sejic, and he's kind of like he's got like a force field around him. Like he can draw sexy women. He can make jokes. I don't know. I think for whatever insane reason Andy Corey is retaining employment at DC, I think it could be good. Maybe.
It's gonna be shit. They don't understand. These people don't understand. They forgot who Harley Quinn was. Harley Quinn is the groupie who loves the serial killer. She's
a
crazy.
victim.
She is
a victim.
She's
That's
not a
her
hero.
character.
She's not a hero. Ultimately, she's crazy, and you know they've got her, and they've got the DCU hanging out with her and associating with her. Like, hey, here's Hawkgirl, and she's hanging out with Harley Quinn. No, Hawkgirl would take Harley Quinn and put her in a padded cell. Stay in here so you don't hurt anyone else. Don't hang out and go on a mission together. Why would that happen? No, I'll tell you why it happens, because Harley Quinn's a popular character. But they're completely misusing her right now. And if you try to turn Harley Quinn into some kind of legit hero that hangs out with other legit heroes, you've ruined the character. She's not wacky. It's not waka waka waka. It's a girl who will murder people and who has murdered people because of her obsessive love for one of the worst mass murderers of all time.
Yeah, it's tragic comedy. It's not female empowerment.
God damn it.
It's the opposite, and that's what makes it tragic. She was an accomplished woman, a psychiatrist, who, like some kind of groupie, fell for the worst person in the world and destroyed her whole life.
Yeah.
And he treats her like trash, and she thinks they're going to have a white picket fence and live in the suburbs. Like Mad Love by Bruce Timm, I would put that in one of the top 10 comics ever made.
Ooh, agreed.
Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. It's a freaking masterpiece. And that whole thing was written, drawn, and done in a month.
Yeah.
You can even kind of see it, like it's drawn kind of fast. It's almost drawn like it's storyboard in some of the panels.
Yeah. Incredible. All right, so let's move on here. Can we get Flying Fortress remastered past 10K, please? Asks Andrew Venables. World War II bomber crew face off against the Fuhrer, interdimensional Nazis, and medieval soldiers. So that's Flying Fortress. Josiah Clinch says, heard about the tornado? Things okay? Man, the force was against you, Pie Eater. I from San Diego know about those things. The tornado. Yikes. P.S. I'm a buddy of Doomcock's. Well, say hello to Lord Doomcock. Yeah, the tornado threatened us. It was supposed to come right for us, and it didn't. It touched down about 3 miles away from the house, and we were just fine. Darth Gavel says, I think you missed my first super chat. I got it now. Cecil says ads are based on search history. Ethan Sant, no, they're not. I know that for a fact because I don't search for this shit. Like people who say that, I go, well, that would be a good bluff, except I don't like anime. I'm not saying, I don't occasionally, look at beautiful women on my computer. Of course I do. But they're real, not drawn with big eyes and, childish faces. I was
talking to Nick Ricciardi the other day. Every time something happens, I check with him and I go, no one ever asks about you, Nick. How you doing? So we started talking about the anime thing he's going to, and I go, oh God, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I just know the names because they always pop up in video titles. Like I can name everyone, and I go, oh, I thought that person was a lawyer. He goes, no, that person, no. Oh, I thought that person was that person's husband. No. I was like, okay, I don't understand any of this stuff. Yeah, they've all got very interesting names. Ron Toye, Monica Rial. They're very memorable names.
They're all memorable. They're all supervillains. I have to say, there are way better supervillains in Anime Gate, Weeb Wars, than there are in even Comics Gate. I mean, those people, like I introduced you to, who was it that we were looking at? Was
Mars Girl?
No, Mars Girl is infuriating. Mars Girl is a freak of nature, and she is one of the most hateful, horrible, obsessive SJWs. Even worse, I think. Even more frustrating and annoying than Renfamous, because Renfamous, it was her job. I mean, she was getting paid to do this, to do agitation. So, she's just doing that. What is Mars Girl doing it for? And then you see her. There's a great picture of Mars Girl that people don't talk about. Hold on. I'm going to look her up real quick here. You got to bear with me here because it really sums up like who she is.
Is it the one where she's smirking about getting someone kicked out of a convention?
No.
It's like the joy of hearing someone drove 3 hours something.
No, it's not like that. It's nothing about her. It's about her unawareness of how stupid and weird she is and how she's affecting normal people in society. And it's all summed up in one kind of famous photo of her. Check this out right here. I did it again. Hold on a second. Right here. See this? Look at her enormous self. Look at her enormous arms. Okay. And she's got the Minnie Mouse ears on. And look at her. She's like, ah! And she's got her arms spread really wide apart for a photograph that someone taken of her. Look at what's going on right behind her. Nobody's noticed this. She almost clocks this woman in the face. This woman has to duck behind her enormous arms. She's like, oh, what the hell? Mars Girl doesn't even understand what she's doing. She's flinging around her enormous arms and thinking she's on TV, and this is some big TV show about her. And in the meantime, normal people are just trying to go.
That woman is talking.
See her?
Yeah.
She almost hit this woman behind her. I mean, it's like, it's the Mars Girl show. And flinging her arms around. These people, all of these weirdos, all of our enemies all think they're on TV. They all think they are on TV at all times, and it's their show. And they're here to do something. They're trying to get attention, but they're all clumsy oafs who, if you saw them in
what is this again, this is something I just barely know about. Do you remember like 5-10 years ago when they started having like Olivia Munn, and she was like the hot geek, correspondent, and they started doing things on cable TV. The blonde haired guy who just got in trouble last year.
Oh, you mean the Jake Paul and Logan Paul?
No, actually, it's 100%. I think we both should just both move on. Neither one of us know what we're talking about right now. But that is funny. Yeah, that woman is literally ducking. She's like, what is this overgrown child doing? Like, the woman probably works in an office, what is this, like save for a vacation? Was this Disneyland or something like that?
It looks like she's at the one of the Disney shops, probably at Disney World or something like that. Yeah, and just flinging her arms around, and just, again, this is kind of who she is. I mean, she's out there just kind of doing stuff and getting in the way. She's a big, enormous oaf, and she's kind of just unaware of, or doesn't care about. She's a sociopath. Doesn't care about what her actions are, how they're affecting other people. It's all about the attention and the limelight being on her and her big stupid face. And then this picture just really sums it all up. And I don't know if like Nick Rekieta or anyone has ever really focused on what's going on around Mars. The pictures that she takes of herself. It's like the rest of the world is like, what is this? What is this troubled, weird, like adult child hurricane doing?
Oh, speaking of going out, you finally convinced me when you did the ordered candy bars on Amazon.com.
Yeah.
I started doing that. I always thought that was lazy.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned that, and then something happened. I went to Walmart to get socks, and every single package had been pawed open.
Oh, yeah.
And then I told my buddy, he's lived here for a long time. I go, I don't see this anywhere else. They go, oh, they wanted to try on the sock. And I go, so why don't they buy the one they ripped open? They go, oh, because they want a fresh pair. And I go, check, please. Yeah, I'm ordering everything that's not refrigerated is being ordered by. And like you said, you wait a couple of days. I just ordered a little thing for the vent so the air conditioner is not blowing on me. I can wait 2 days versus driving around town. I park in the middle of the parking lot, away from everyone. You come back out. What do you find?
What do you find? What do you mean?
I park way, you go out, it's
somebody
hot.
Next to you.
Right next to you.
Yeah.
That happened today. And they were cockeyed. I was like, there's 20 empty spots on you parked right next to me.
Yeah.
So unless it's a refrigerator or some kind of perishable item. And I bet Amazon's about to solve that problem too.
Yeah, I order. Plus, you can wait. You have a nice package to look forward to. Something's coming to your door. Hooray! I ordered this. Yeah, I do that a lot now. I'm just like, I ordered a crate of Hershey bars, like 26 Hershey bars, and they came, and they're upstairs in the cupboard now. And I'm like, yay! Like I didn't have to go out to get them. I like it. Amazon.com solves a lot of problems, and that is the future. The future is people just ordering what they want and waiting 2 days rather than getting in their car.
That's what we do. That's what we're. I got all excited when I realized we're doing something similar.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you just and. I know we talked about with Doug Tanapo like 2 months ago, but they got Amazon fulfillment, and I believe they also do Amazon printing. So I got to tell you, I think I sent you some of the screenshots from the Devil Dog Origin.
Oh yeah.
This thing is so, and that things have been so crazy over the last year or so that honestly, a lot of times, like I just kind of not really look that close. Like I had an idea, I heard someone finish the script. It was good. I just kind of made sure it wasn't terrible. And then I saw the pages that have been drawn, the good color, good. And then all of a sudden it's like lettered. And I'm like, I'm reading it. I'm like, this is awesome. Like if this would have been on the stands, you know, this would have been part of, you know, the Antarctic deal. And I was like, I think I might go for it. I think I just might make this a one shot, you know?
Yeah.
Like I showed it to a ton of people. Everyone was blown away. Like, what is this? It's like, this is the guy. This was actually done like 6 months ago, but I finally got it lettered because it's gonna be a backup story in the next Jawbreakers book. I think people would love it.
Andrea on the way to Walmart today, I was just like, you know, like my book is coming. We can just do comics. Like, you know, the first one was hard to put together because we're learning how to do it. But I mean, we're going to get better at it. We're going to get much better at it.
So much easier. I'm on my third right now. It's so much easier. And like you said, I'm about to hit my 1 year of doing this full time.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah,
I can't believe it. I'm going to finish this. No, at first I had to do it because I was forced to.
Right.
But now, you know, some hard lessons learned, some expensive lessons learned. Geez, I had to replace 700 copies. I overprinted by 700 and I sent out all of them.
700?
Yes. Those are damages. That's damages.
No.
Yeah.
All right. I got to be aware of that because I'm,
I had the problem where I had to find someone who hadn't done individual fulfillment before and they didn't package it. It was a mutual mistake and we learned from it. But yeah. 700.
Yeah, I over-ordered, and I told Andrew, I was like, I want to have like 2 crates of all of the Chromium editions, in our closet. And she's like, well, what are you going to do with them? I'm like, I don't know, but they're my book. And so I was hoping to have like 500 copies of each just for my own enjoyment, like in my garage or something like that. And frankly, I don't know if I'm going to get to keep them. From what you're saying.
So somebody said way early, I think before even I started fulfillment, someone whose job was fulfillment, although I think they did other type of things. They gave me this industry stat that was something like 10%. That was going to be lost, damage, and then they said a huge percentage was fraud. People say they don't get it, and then they ask for a replacement. I actually don't think we're going to run into that much. But I would say whatever your orders were, I would say 5%.
Yeah. 5%.
And it doesn't look like I don't think you're at 5%, are you? You're probably like 3 or 4. I think you should be good. You got a good company doing your stuff for you. So
yeah. Antoine Dennison says 500 copies for your own enjoyment. Yes. Yeah. I know. Yes, I can't help it. I'm so proud of this book. And I know once I have
back and front, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God.
So what is the back? Is it a gatefold or what is it?
No, it's just the all caps comics logo centered against just a mirror.
All right, cool.
It's going to look nice. The way we've set it up is for the Chromium editions. It's like you open up the Chromium. It looks just like a copy of Wolverine from 1994. It's so nice and it's stitched and everything. So you open up the Chromium, you're going to see the reflection of Cyberfrog, like stitched into the Chromium on the other side, the imprint of him. And then you open it up and there is sketch paper. If you were to just peel the Chromium cover off, like pull it off the staples, you would essentially have a sketch cover book. Because there's going to be a page on the inside that says that looks like a blue lined all caps comics art page. And I'm going to do my sketches on those. I'm going to sign those. I'm going to sign on the interior. But if you got a Chromium cover and you didn't buy a sketch cover, or like a sketch on the interior of the pages, you've got a sketch cover right built into your package. So you can take that book and go meet Mike S. Miller or go meet Elliot Fernandez or go meet any comic skater or even me at some point and get me to do a little sketch on that interior. So there's going to be a sketch cover underneath the Chromium and then boom, right into the comic. And the comic is just full of extras. It's full of cool stuff. I went through all the archives. I found all of the little drawings I did of Cyberfrog and Heather while I was doing live streams. Those are going to be included in one little section so that you can see me deciding to do the book and working it out. It's such a nice package. And Andrea sat down and read it. She said it was really good. I want you to read it, before anyone else does. Would you read it?
Yeah, definitely. How strong is Cyberfrog?
He can lift 4 or 5 tons. He's like Spider-Man.
Really? I thought he was a lot stronger.
No, Salamander.
Why do you think your guy can beat my whole team? I thought he was like a freaking 80 to 100 ton strength.
Because he's Cyberfrog, he's connected to Chelsin, and Chelsin would go, okay. She would identify the Jawbreakers coming close, and she would say, all right, we're going to adapt you. We're going to armor you up. We're going to enhance your weaponry to be able to take these guys out real quick. And he would grow guns. He would grow all kinds of weapons. He'd become a tank.
So it's like, it's almost like Brother Eye combined with Spider Sense.
Yeah, he does. Cyberfrog doesn't have any kind of spider sense, though. He can't be warned of danger. Chelsin
well, I'm saying is like the Chelsin. What is Chelsin?
Chelsin is the mothership that brought him to Earth and sits in a swamp. And basically, she's the internet. Okay, so she's like his own private internet Wi-Fi service that detects danger all around, can feel the vibrations of all the life forms on planet Earth, tells him where to go, and adapts his body, his armored body, to be able to deal with whatever threat pops up. But mostly she brought him to Earth just to handle the Vespis invasion. That's why he's here. He can save humans in the meantime. His goal is to take care of the human race, but he is there to fight the Vespis. And through her, he has the ability to stop the entire invasion. So that's the story. So he would say the Jawbreakers are coming, and so we need this, 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 and this to take out each one of them. Now, Salamandroid is not connected to Chelsin at all. He can't adapt to anything. So, Salamandroid's just like super strong. He's just a tank, and he's allowed to kill people. Cyberfrog is not allowed to kill anyone. But Salamandroid is if they get in the way of Cyberfrog performing his mission. So,
is Cyberfrog like a holy character or something?
No, he's from another planet. Another planet sent him to Earth with just the right tools to turn back the Vespis invasion. And he needs to win the trust and faith of the human race in order to be positioned to do that. He's not allowed to kill anybody. He's there to protect the human race. If he could kill people, he'd be no better than the Vespis. But on the other hand, his big brother Salamandroid was just told, hey, look, if anybody gets in this guy's way, your little brother's way, take him out. His mission is paramount. It's just like the president of the United States isn't going to shoot anyone, but his Secret Service might.
Okay. Hey, I actually got to get back on this tech stuff. It takes me like forever and then once you get it, it's easy, but I stress out about this stuff. So good talking to you.
You too, my friend. Have a great day. Let me read the rest of these super chats, and I'll be off too. Take care, Zach.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye. All right, so Edgar Cruz says, I'm so pumped for those cards. EVS get Doug in it. All right, so I'll ask Doug if he wants to do it. Josiah Clinch says SD is South Dakota. Let's see. Ryan Magus says, may I die with honor one day and go to Valhalla with Jawbreaker, Cyberfrog, and Vestige in my arms. Hail Caesar, hail Zach, hail Work Campaign, F Wade. Starcast Network says, I'm a new YouTube creator. Check us out. Billy Ritchie says, Zach floppies are dead. Got to go paperback. I agree. Raging Goblin says, EVS and your boy Zach together are some of my favorite streams. Keep it up, fellas. Paragon, thanks for $10. The religion of social justice is just a brainwashing tool of some politicians so that they can hide their real agenda. They have brainwashed so many people with its lies. Cage Minowara says, I wish to ask how to write a comic. I can't draw, but I can write. How do I write a script so I can give an artist so they can draw the images? Cage, it's pretty simple. Just go page 1. I want you to just imagine how many panels you're going to need on the page, how many frames. Page 1, panel 1, and then give him a description of what that single static image is going to be, and then give him the dialogue. Say, Spider-Man says, and then give the dialogue, captions, all of that stuff, and write it that way. Just be descriptive, not too descriptive, but descriptive enough so that the artist can picture what the story is. John Chidester says, I'm a DC guy because I don't really read any of the new junk. People Circus says, I thought feminists were into Bush. Jersey Devil says, your boy and Uncle E, I just got under 30 pages of my comic scripted, getting excited. I do comic reviews on this channel. Sub if you like comics, but I can't wait to start talking about my own story. Eyes of the Wolf 101 says, what next separate comic book stores? Oh, we read that one. Tim Pool did nothing wrong. I don't know what Zach has against Tim Pool. I kind of like Tim Pool, you know. Peppermint Oil Capsule says, have you and your girl seen the Lego Star Wars TV shows? Way more like classic Star Wars than the recent films. You'd enjoy Grabella the Hutt. Please, yes, please send me good vibes while I'm still stuck on soy diet. Oh my gosh, good vibes coming your way. No, I have not seen any of the Lego Star Wars movies. Sammy Reese says, Richard, hire an accountant to file your taxes. Dude, he better be doing that. Everyone is tired of hearing about it in all your videos. I don't disagree. Zach's like, oh my God, it's the quarterlies. I'm like, it's not, Zach, you go on the website and you just pay your quarterlies. It's not hard at all. It's not anything to concern yourself with. And if you're off a little bit, you figure it out at the end of the year. It's okay. Indie Dave Comics says, keep your eyes out for Oddity coming soon to an Indiegogo near you. Neo Star Productions says, so the Banana Splits movie is basically just Five Nights at Freddy's. That's lame as hell. Earth Citizen 9 says, Zach, is your P.O. box still valid? I didn't know he had a P.O. box. But look, if he does, send him some shoes. Find out what Zach's shoe size is. Liam Gray says, Ethan, if you knew the horror behind what happened when Disney took over Henson, man, if you only knew. It's a legitimate horror story. Sesame only escaped because it's owned by a different company now. Taylor Miller says, Beth Elderkin, isn't she the one who did the smear job on Vic for IO9? I'm wondering if it's the same person. I'm going to look into Beth because I think she did a smear job on me too. It didn't take. Sierra Whiskey says, can we get Flying Fortress to do better than that? The DCV Titan says, Tug is live streaming in the mask right now. I got to see this. The Mob Seat says, get Tug on. He's killing it. Emancipated Entertainment says, free super chat. Here's Zach. Well, unfortunately, it's going to me. Andreas says, get Streamlabs. It's Mo Money. Zerank says, Zach, I think you were talking about G4 TV and Adam Sessler earlier. Proper Jenny says, hey, Ethan and Zach, hope you're both having a pleasant day so far. Never read a comic before, but always wanted to. Where do you think I should start? What was the first comic you ever owned? Mine was Superman, Man of Steel by John Byrne. Where do I think you should start? I think you should go to the comic book store, decide what your favorite character is, and immediately start investigating what's on the rack. And then, if you want to dig into the back issue bins, that is a whole other area of discovery that I think you'll enjoy. Lubu says, Zach, did Sashi pinups ship? I never got mine. Send him a message about that. Legion of Myths says, here's 10 euros for the entertainment. Better than the current crop of movies. LOM has anime reviews, comic book reviews, and tabletop game fundamentals. Check us out. Subscribe if interested. That's Legion of Myth. Subscribe to Legion of Myth. All right, everyone. Let me see what you're saying in the chat real quick here. Zach needs flip-flops. Tim is talking himself away from the left. Yeah, I don't know. Tim Pool's okay. I don't know I don't really watch much of his stuff. But he seems okay. I don't need to dunk on him. But Zach seems to have a problem with him. Tim is just digesting his red pill slowly. It's like if you've been everywhere that Tim has been, I don't know how you aren't already red pilled. Gravity Cat says, EVS, my Cyberfrog t-shirt came in. My wife held it up and said, it reminds me of the Ninja Turtles guys. Remember those from the 90s? I'm like, yes, it's chock full of 90s feel. Yeah, it is. Cyberfrog and the Turtles need to get together. Absolutely. It would be a fun kind of crossover thing. All right, everyone. I want to say thanks to you. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for hanging out. This was a big stream. 2,200 viewers at peak, I think. That's enormous, and I definitely appreciate the continued support and you guys helping this channel grow. Please hit the thumbs up if you haven't yet. I really appreciate the thumbs up. That kind of just helps with the algorithm. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. If this is if this is your kind of content, if you're into this, hit the subscribe button. Join us. Don't miss a live stream. Hit the bell for notifications. Appreciate and love you all. Thank you for supporting Cyberfrog. Oh my God, thank you for supporting Cyberfrog and also the Cyberfrog Vampirella variant cover. Really appreciate it. All of that patience, all of that, all of the waiting and all of the fun is going to pay off really, really soon. I think like in the next, I don't know, I think in the next month. I'm going to probably have mine in like 3 weeks. So very excited. All right. Thanks, everyone. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.